Boom. And we're live.
How's it going, bud?
What's going on, dude?
Yeah, man, I love that intro. That intro is always good.
Oh man, dude. Yeah. Shout out to Jordan, bros.
Oh, you put it together? Or?
Yeah, me and him put it together and stuff.
Oh,
I had a big rough idea of what I wanted, some of the soundtracks and stuff like that, and then he made the dreams happen, basically.
Nice. No, it's cool, man. It like encompasses so many different memes and aspects of crypto like so well. And it's just great. It's a great intro.
No, definitely, man. It's I've had so many ideas for more in them, except just to keep getting copywritten.
Oh shoot, you got to find like that's the tricky thing nowadays. You got to find like each individual piece has to be whatever you call it, where you open forum or whatever. Yeah.
Dude, it sounds so wonderful in your background. I just hear the birds chirping and stuff. It just sounds so
nice. Really? Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even know. I guess there are birds upstairs and stuff. So yeah, it's spring here. So yeah,
it sounded so tropical and nice. I was like, damn, that's just to me. That's just sounded like cool island breeze.
Oh man, no, it's nice for sure. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean it's beautiful. Every day is sunny, pretty much always here. So, but yeah, it's pretty quiet today, just because we're streaming midday. So no fiestas going on.
I would love it if we ever did a stream just with the fiesta music on. I would fucking lose it, man. It's the best. You guys don't know how hilariously amazing that is. Like, it's just because like if you guys like, obviously like, you know, you live in, I mean, I think you're living in Mexico now, I'm guessing, right?
Yeah, for the time being, like indefinitely, essentially, like.
Got you.
Yeah, we'll see what happens with Canada. I'm hoping to be back at some point, but I'd like to live in both places. Both countries are obviously amazing. Like, I mean, Canada is a special country normally, so no complaints. But Mexico's great. Like, it's growing on me fast. Like, I've been here 5 months. It's gone by so quick, and that's a big part of that is just because how fast crypto time goes, and just I don't know, like 5 months just gone. But yeah, no, there's Mexico is it's all about where you're located, of course, and you find the right spots. Like, it's pretty amazing. And yeah, no, I could go on and on, but I won't. But yeah, man.
No, I miss it. I haven't been to Mexico personally in like probably 6 years, at least. Yeah.
You're overdue for sure. Then how's my audio coming through? Is it pretty good? Like,
yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, it's always
good. Sounds good, man.
Awesome.
But yeah, for you guys who don't know, usually it's pretty quiet in the daytime, except you have like a water truck or something going.
Oh yeah, you get that. Yeah, you get the trucks. Like, there's a couple different versions of that where you get one guy's collecting like any kind of like garbage, any kind of metal or those sorts of like things. Take it off your hands or whatever, like scrap stuff. You get that guy coming by sometimes, and then you get like the gasoline or propane or
Gas.
propane, yeah, oh gas. You get that truck coming by. That one comes by pretty often, but
It's amazing. It's always the same inflection in all the things like water,
yeah, yeah.
gas,
I just don't know
trash.
how. Oh man, like I'm just like, I don't know how you could. I don't know how you could have a job where you just listen to that 24/7, like all day. Well, I mean, all day essentially. Just like, how does that not cause brain damage? Like, I don't mind it like coming by once a day or whatever. But
Right.
imagine sitting by on a truck where that's just like going for 8 hours a day. How do
I
you
mean,
how do you how do you do that? I
I
guess
would
you just
probably,
won't hear it after a while or something. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, that actually is a good point, man. Like, holy crap, I'm surprised those guys. I mean, those could be the postmen sort of guys who lose their shit
How do you
when they.
not lose your shit? Like it's just it can't be. It sounds like some sort of CIA program where they're trying to like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like MK Ultra, these guys like just constant like just
Literally.
see what happens after 10 years of being on the job. No, I just feel bad. Like I mean, obviously they're yeah, whatever. It's not my job. So I just certain jobs you're like, how do people do it? I mean, I'm happy that people are willing to do these sorts of jobs because
Right.
otherwise we wouldn't have gas and we wouldn't have all these things, right? So
Yeah. Those kind of
I
jobs.
just admire people's ability to just like grind through it. I've done it. Like I've had jobs, don't get me wrong, where I dreaded every day going to work,
Right.
and I've had those sorts of jobs like for years, and yeah, I'm just amazed that people can continue to do them. It's just impressive.
I mean, society would break down. I mean, people don't like. I mean, shout out to Mike Rowe and stuff with the dirty jobs and stuff like that. He's one big person that really like promoted that. We don't give enough respect for a lot of those blue collar kind of jobs or services and stuff that are done. But society would break down if we didn't have these people to do all this stuff: plumbers, electricians, carpenter. I mean, like all these jobs are hard and stuff. And there's a lot of jobs you don't think the trash man and stuff. Can you imagine if you imagine if the trash people didn't pick up the trash? Like,
Oh man, we'd be so screwed if certain jobs were gone, like it just overnight. The amount we depend on, all these things, and it's just, yeah. I mean,
but
yeah, I'm just impressed in general with people and their ability to just keep going through hardship at times. But at the same time, I mean, like it's nowadays. I mean, people are just happy to have any job, really. Just because not everyone has jobs. So,
yeah,
but
and well, a lot of people don't even know this. Like, I mean, obviously, I mean, I come from like I worked blue collar jobs and stuff, and I had all my businesses and stuff in the landscape irrigation space. And yeah, it's a thankless service. Well, the customer thank you, but but basically, it's just like society, like they don't think about it, but it's a great way to actually make money. But it's hard because what's going on is like, I guess during the time when me and you were basically in high school going into college, like how much was the white collar jobs being pushed on us to go to college and stuff, go to college, you have to get a job, work in an office and stuff. And then like office jobs are disappearing unless you're a developer or has something to do with a computer. A lot of those office jobs and stuff that people were talking about are kind of going away, and it's caused like in the labor market an extraordinarily large amount of people to specialize in jobs that are kind of diminishing, and then instead they completely ignored the trades. Now the tradesmen, there's so few tradesmen in all trades basically because it's not sexy, that those people who did do those trades because either family or they just kind of fell into it because they thought that's the only thing they had are now starting to make a lot of money now, which is pretty crazy. Propane makes money, baby. That's right. Propane
yeah,
makes money.
yeah, absolutely, man. No, there's a lot of good things about doing trades as far as like you don't have necessarily as big of debts coming out of school and stuff, and it's yeah. I mean, I know lots of people have gone to trades and done pretty well for themselves. So yeah, it's
This is actually a great question by Tweety Bird. Plan C, they need you at Bitcoin Magazine because man, they got wrecked yesterday.
what happened? What happened? I missed it.
So these guys from Bitcoin Magazine did a
I know the guys. Which guys from?
I'll try to find the names of them and stuff because
It
I
doesn't
really
matter too much. There's quite a few guys that work there, I'm sure, but I know some of the guys there, but
well, some of them interviewed Richard Hart, and Richard Hart kind of ripped them a new asshole,
oh,
basically.
interesting.
Yeah, and then the conversation got so terrible that they basically started just throwing insults at Richard because they couldn't beat him. They couldn't verbally spar him anymore.
They have a YouTube channel or something, or what?
Yeah. They have a YouTube channel. They streamed it on their YouTube channel
Oh,
on
shit, I didn't even know.
Twitter Squares,
Oh,
and
okay, wow.
it dual
Like
streamed on
a
Richard.
dual. Oh, that's cool. Dual stream, nice.
Yeah, it was literally like a 3-on-1, basically 3 guys like, so they had a moderator who kept eating bananas for some reason.
I'm surprised they even interview Richard. It's Bitcoin Magazine. Like, I'm surprised they would even interview him.
Well, it's just like, you know, the thing is, a lot of people are like, you know, a lot of people think the faux they basically thought that they were like intellectuals, basically, or like, you know, hey, we're the Bitcoin guys, we know this stuff. Like, let me show you why this guy's a scammer and stuff like that.
But but know who you're going up against. I mean, if you're going to have, like, you might be able to do that with another altcoin, but it's not going to work well. It's not going to end well with Richard. I mean, regardless of what you think of Hex, I mean, Richard is an intelligent dude who's good at debating. So yeah, it's a bad idea.
So I've equated this whole thing with Richard. Richard is basically like, okay, Richard's like, imagine if Richard was Mike Tyson and he's just knocking motherfuckers out in the heavyweight division, and like the heavyweight champions and stuff, because usually there's 3 types of belts for heavyweights depending on the divisions and stuff like that in terms of like the different categories. They're all dodging him right now. So basically, anytime they give him a fight and stuff, it's always like a setup. Basically,
yeah, they got the judges in their pocket. They got the gloves are weighted or something going on, right? Some shenanigans. Yeah, well, I mean, it sounds like they set up the perfect scenario to try and discredit Richard live, and it didn't go over. I'll have to watch it just for fun, but
no, it's a real. You'll watch it. You'll actually get a kick out of it because, like, I mean, Richard was being really respectful in the beginning, and then they started kind of like, you know, trying to do little jabs here and there until eventually, like, he started kind of slapping them up, and then they eventually got to the point where like they started making fun of him. It's like, how can you talk about anything, Richard, when you can't keep fucking food from coming in your fat ass mouth?
That doesn't have. Those are just ad hominem attacks. I mean, those are the sorts of things people resort to when they have no argument, or not if they don't have any argument, or they're just not able to convey their argument properly. Like, you can be in a situation where you're debating. Oh, they deleted it. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, but Richard didn't delete it. So
yeah. I mean, if you're in that, it must have gone pretty bad if they deleted it. But yeah, if you're in a debate, sometimes you're just having an off day for whatever reason, or you just get flustered and you can't think clearly, and like that, you know, you might have a good argument, you might just not be able to convey the argument at the moment. But when you have 3 guys, all it takes is one guy remaining level-headed and being able to, you know, if you have 3 people, I mean, it's pretty rough. Like, usually when you're outnumbered to that degree in a debate, like, it's really hard to win, right? Just because of the numbers, if 3 people are coming at you, right? But that sucks. Well, if you have a copy, somehow let me know.
Oh yeah, I'll give it to you right now. Don't worry, I'll find it.
Yeah.
I'll get it to you right now.
What was the main? If you want to go into it, it's up to you. But what was the main kind of thing that made them resort to the ad hominem stuff?
It was a kind of like it was a myriad of things. Basically, it's just like they kept coming out at him with like, hey, let me tell you why, you know, you're full of shit, basically, or like, you know, you're profiting off of this and stuff like that, and like, well, let me tell you not, let me tell you this here, let me tell you why. And then they really were getting butthurt over this thing where they were saying like, no, you do not need 51% consensus to do a 51% attack on Bitcoin. You technically need 33%. It's expensive as hell.
Yeah.
It's expensive as hell, or this whole thing where like, I mean, basically was arguing that Bitcoin can be changed. And they were like, no, this is God's money. This can never be changed. It was a really backwards maxi talk. It was like pretty, it was pretty cringy sort of stuff. He was basically saying like someone can, if they really wanted to, they really could risk all their capital in BTC and nodes and stuff to actually try to.
But isn't that already been proven to be true? Like, my understanding with Bitcoin is, there's a lot of game theory that's designed. Like, I'm not an expert. I'll just give my understanding. I might be wrong, but I thought that, like, okay, as far as someone who's logically just trying to make capital, like, the game theory is set up in a way that it does incentivize, the network to continue and to be secured and incentivize, mining and everything. And it doesn't incentivize these sorts of attacks as far as just financially. Right. But you have to understand that sometimes there's larger things at play than finances. Like, a certain country in a certain situation, or for whatever reason, right? You can lose a lot of money in one area, but you're making it back in other ways. You can be making it back in political gain, or who knows, right? Like, you could be making it back because you're, shorting it or something, or you could be making it back because you have some other asset class or something else that you're promoting, or who knows, right? Like, it's just good to be aware of the risk with Bitcoin. I mean, the fact is, it hasn't been hacked in the history of of Bitcoin. So far, it's been good. But I think if any person that like Richard has been in since the beginning, if he's giving a straightforward argument based
Oh
on
no, definitely
facts,
he is.
I
Yeah,
mean, it's just kind of like, because that is ultimately like Bitcoin's biggest, like I think most Bitcoin maxis, like, or people that are really heavily believe in Bitcoin, like I do myself, your biggest concern is always like an attack or is always a hack. Like that, it seems like that is kind of like the only way that Bitcoin fails long term is some sort of catastrophic hack or,
right,
well, you could call it a hack or you could call like collusion of the miners somehow. But
right,
33% is, I mean, it'd be hard to coordinate 33% of the network.
right.
I mean, but it's possible, right? It's good to be aware that with enough resources and enough capital, I don't know. I mean, there's different things. I mean, I might be talking out of my ass, like,
No, no, and you're not talking out of your ass because
but
it's
I think it's a little more complex than that. Like
correct. Yeah.
there are other factors. Like even if you do get a hold of a third of the network, I believe there's other kind of like fail-safe systems in place. Like so, yeah, in theory, I mean maybe, but in practice, I mean there's a lot
It's
more.
unlike and Richard said that like he was saying that it's not likely, but it's possible. They were saying it's impossible. No, he's like, no, dude, it
Yeah,
actually is possible. Like, what are you
yeah,
talking?
yeah. I think maybe it'd be interesting to hear it just because I think the people that really know their shit on the ins and outs of Bitcoin, like when it comes to those sorts of things, you don't need to understand necessarily that level as an investor. Like, yeah, it's
Right,
good to understand the risks, but like to understand the specific way the code is formed and how it works, like all the ins and outs. And I mean that doesn't, yeah, I mean you don't necessarily have to know that, but yeah, I would say to me like it's highly unlikely, but yeah, there is a possibility. I mean, obviously, there's enough resources on the planet that if there was enough bodies that wanted, like, if there was enough players that wanted to work together for whatever reason, I mean, 100% they could stop Bitcoin. I don't understand how anyone can say Bitcoin can't be stopped. To me, like it absolutely can be stopped. Like if you have countries, if you have multiple countries that
right.
decided to come together, like the biggest players on the planet, like if China, you know, the US and Russia and all these major countries decided to stop Bitcoin, I mean, they have the military power, they have the resources. Like, how could you? They could shut off the internet if they want. I don't know. They could stop Bitcoin if that was their sole goal. They could stop Bitcoin. Yeah, they would damage. They would damage. They would lose a lot of money. I'm sure they would lose a lot of reputation. Who knows all the other consequences?
It'd be dangerous basically for them to
Yeah,
do it. Like it's sort of this whole thing. It's not like an easy like sort of no casualty or no risk sort of effect.
yeah, it would
But
expose them as working together in a lot of
right,
ways and stuff. Like it's.
yeah,
But I mean, they could absolutely stop Bitcoin. I just think at this point, the more players on that sort of in that sort of field that accumulate Bitcoin, the less likely it's to happen. Just because there's a lot of wealthy people that hold it, and they have connections. So it's just kind of slowly getting the traditional system on board with Bitcoin, and yeah, I think they're going to take the route of regulation. I don't really think they're going to take the route of
it,
trying to
I,
shut it down. I mean, if they wanted to shut it down, they could have done it already. And I just don't see why at this point it just would be kind of weird to do it. I mean, they could, but
I mean, my speculation always is the United States benefits more from crypto than like it's this weird sort of thing where like we're just barely getting now from the Biden administration that they're going to start giving a little more clarity on how they're going to regulate crypto in terms of taxes and stuff because like people like goddamn good luck to you guys trying to file taxes on this shit. Holy fuck, it's hard. It's not like
oh yeah, even with all the programs and stuff, like oh man, it just seems like just a nightmare to do.
yeah, like if you plug in your transactions into any of these kind of apps and stuff to help you with taxes, it's like half wrong. At least it's like I still
So
waste.
what do you have to do? Like go through because I'm in the process of getting started with that myself. But I mean, it's kind of like the biggest pain probably in being in the space is doing your taxes, just
Yeah,
at least for
it,
now. But
it's really tough and stuff. And then too, like all we care about is like if we're gonna be taxed, we should be if it's no there's what is it no taxation without representation. You know what I'm saying? So it's
yeah,
like if we're going to be taxed on this stuff, we should be represented. But on top of that, we don't want to be overtaxed on these assets and stuff. Like if I ran for government and I ran for like president or whatever or Congress, so I'd be pushing a bill basically until crypto leaves and goes into the real world, or you do a certain amount of sales and stuff, it should not be taxed at all, basically.
Yeah, isn't that what they're talking about doing though, or isn't that part of the bill?
A bit of it. They're always like kind of bittersweet
Yeah.
because like the way they always do it is they always make a really reactionary bill. Like, holy, like, we're gonna tax you 99%. 99%? What? There's no way. Then they backtrack it like, so you guys, we're only gonna tax you now 39%. You see, okay, that's more fair. You guys like, and
Yeah, it kind of started extreme. Everyone freaks out, and then they pull it back to a point where it's kind of like, okay, we never. Yeah, they just want a middle ground with it, but yeah, it's probably what's going to happen, right? Like they're going to want their cut. They're going to want make sure everything's regulated and taxed and all this stuff. And yeah, I think otherwise, I think crypto's fine. I don't see them shutting it down because they really, and I think we've talked about this in private before, but they really want these central bank digital currencies. Like this is a huge thing. Like the biggest push I would say right now for the, call them whatever you want to call them, but people that pull the strings, basically on the planet, they really want digital IDs and they really want central bank digital currencies because it allows for so much ability to track and control the population, and it's a real big deal for them. So I feel like that's the big push over the next like 10 years or so is these CBDCs and these digital ID, and as well as like other things like social credit score and other things like that. But yeah, I would say. Because that's the big thing is this digital aspect. I mean, if they go after Bitcoin and shut it down completely, or just completely like say they shut down all the cryptos or they just completely hijack Bitcoin, it's going to make it harder to gain adoption with the CBDCs because less people are going to trust them. If they're like, oh, Bitcoin got shut down, well, how do we know? Why is a CBDC any different? I thought this is also a crypto, or because they're going to market as a cryptocurrency or whatever, probably, or try to anyways, that's just my belief. I could be wrong, but I just feel like basically the if Bitcoin and crypto in general gets shut down, like it just makes it harder to gain the adoption of CBDCs. It's a lot easier if you have everyone excited about crypto, everyone's coming into the space, and then it's an easier way to convert CBDCs long term. They're going to market the CBDCs as all these are just stable coins. They just represent the US dollar. They whatever. It kind of like merged the maybe not, but maybe at some point merged like some of the stable coins with CBDCs, or who knows, right? Like make some sort of a coin like that. I don't know how we start talking about this, but anyways, that's
no. Well, it has to do with the government because that's eventually. You're right. Like that is eventually the master plan. I personally feel the only reason we're doing that is basically because there's competition, right? So. We're in competition with the Chinese basically, and the Chinese are doing a version of that. So in order for us to compete in terms of a GDP sort of sense, and eventually like I would guess like dollars per person basically, or whatever the fuck it's called in terms of that term, you need to have some version of like communist light basically just to compete on that site. So we're not just taking it back because if the Chinese actually pull off, their central bank digital currency and they can basically delete credits so they have the social credit score. And on top of that, they have the central bank digital currency of the RMB and everything like that, then they can really control their currency and then stop this whole because what their main problem is like nobody wants that fucking piece of shit currency. Right, the RMBs. I mean, the Chinese currency is basically dog shit and they have capital controls because it's such a terrible currency, and anyone who has money in the country wants to get their fucking money out of the country. That the minute they open it up, they have $1 trillion of fucking capital flight into like that. That was one of the big reasons why I would say that really like kickstarted back up the real estate boom. Especially during like 2013, 2014, 2015, was basically Chinese capital escaping and then buying properties here in basically all the gateway in all the gateway sort of cities, basically New York, Toronto, Mexico. I mean, Mexico, just basically any capital city where they could like essentially in Spain, France, it doesn't matter, like anywhere, Paris, in those countries that's why real estate prices started going up. That's why there's so many there's so many buildings where the apartments cost millions and millions of dollars for these apartments, and they're empty because it's just a way for them to essentially like, well, I'm gonna get rugged on 40% once I sell this or stuff, but who cares? At least I have 60% of my money out of the country, and they can't, and the Chinese government can't like take it from me. And that's where a lot of other countries too that have those kind of capital controls. So that's why they want to have that digital currency, because once they have that, they have at least locked in 80% of the people in the system, and like now they can't really like move. Cool. And then basically the master plan from that is like, if once people can't move their money out, then they'll be in the game. They're in the Ponzi now, and then they won't want to have their capital leave, and then their currency can overtake the United States. But that's kind of the bullshit. This is why I've been saying that, like I've been saying this for a long time, that I think privately the United States has a secret sort of motive with cryptocurrencies, that the reason they haven't regulated and done and been just kind of, it's been, even though there's been a couple negative things, that they're still pretending to be negative, but the United States usually is very reactionary. So if they really think that something's bad, they really try to kill it really fast. In cryptocurrencies, they've kind of lazily not done anything about it, because cryptocurrencies is dollarized. It's actually what they're using. We're using cryptocurrencies to spread the dollar around the world, and it's why I believe it's one of the it's a tool that they've been using to actually. There's a lot of tools they're using in order to stop inflation, but the reason we haven't had as much hyperinflation that we should have had is because everything crypto is priced in dollars. So if you buy a cryptocurrency, you're automatically in the dollar system. That's wild. If you think about it, right? Stable coin. I mean, it's just dollar. Like the whole system's dollar.
There are other stable coins, but they're so small compared to the US. It's almost like, because like on Celsius, you can get like Canadian stable coins, like other countries, but it's got to be less than 1% of the pie. Like it's almost all stable coins are US at this point. There are other alternatives, but almost no one's using them, relatively speaking. What's going on?
Clancy with that handsome face, no homo.
I got some sun on my vacation for 10 days, so
okay. You say you're looking glowing, sir.
Well, thank you. It's my moisturizer. No, I don't use anything, of course, but I'm in. I guess the thing about crypto, you guys got to all, if you're heavy in crypto, like if you're really focused on it and everything, like with me, I'm full time. Like I'm sitting at a computer way too many hours. So what I kind of light bulb hit me the last like maybe couple weeks here is I'm like, shit, I got to start exercising. Because like I'm just eating Mexican food, which is carb heavy, and I'm not exercising at all. So I'm just, I go to the park and shoot some baskets and stuff, but I'm just like, man, I used to be able, I posted some videos on my Twitter. I used to be able to like, I had a 40-inch vertical. Like when I was in my 20s, I could just jump out of the gym. And I was in great shape, like really good shape. I worked out every day, lifted weights. And it's just like amazing. Like
that video is crazy, dude. That video you is crazy. I'm like, what the fuck, man?
I thought it'd be fun to post just because like people talk about like, it's funny, right? In Canada or just in general, white people can't jump. Like, you know, people, I used to win. So I was super into basketball. Like that's all I did until I was like 25, right? And I played in university and stuff. And I wasn't necessarily the best shooter on the team, but I could jump the highest. And I used to go in dunk contests and I remember I was down in Gonzaga. We had a basketball tournament down in Gonzaga. The Gonzaga basketball team was there and everything. And like this a whole bunch, it was like a team, like basically you bring all your own teams from different places, like a couple teams came from Canada, a whole bunch from the States. And then you train, but you also compete the teams. And there's all these divisions and shit. But basically at the end, they had a dunk contest and I won the dunk contest and everyone in the stadium was shouting like, Air Canada, Air Canada. But it's just one of those things like your white people don't expect it. And then, but yeah, no, I had so many fun years playing basketball, man. And it's like I remember, like I just at my peak, I could touch the highest I ever touched on these vert tests was 11.8. So like the hoop's at 10 feet, right? So like the highest I ever got was 11.8, and at my peak I could stick my elbow in the rim. So I couldn't dunk. I couldn't dunk the ball and put my elbow in the rim, but I could jump up and hang on the rim with my elbow. Like I could stick my arm into the hoop and hang on my elbow. Luckily, I never broke my arm or fell or anything, but yeah, man, it was. But now, like, I mean, being in my mid-30s, like going to the park, I can barely dunk. I got to get warmed up. I
Yeah.
gotta make sure I don't hurt anything, and then
Stretch the hamstrings.
I'll miss my first few dunks, and then I'll finally get up and throw one down. But it's just like, man. But yeah, anyways, got to get back into working out and stuff for sure.
Man, I feel you on that, man. Yeah. I mean, there's that magical time. Like I've always said, like the time where I was like had the most crackhead energy was 19 years old. 19
Yeah,
for me was like
limited energy, right? Like
infinite energy, infinite. Like
yeah.
it's insane, dude. Now, like, I mean, I just go to sleep late. I feel like I've been drinking I was on a fucking like 2-day bender or something like that. Like I was talking to you earlier today about that and stuff. Like I just
that's sleep stuff though. Sleep stuff can destroy you. Like thing about sleep, man, is like, and I think that's one of the reasons is sleep is everyone knows this, but yeah, if you you can get away with weird sleep routines for a period of time, but if it becomes a chronic bad habit where your sleep is just messed up, man, does it destroy your body fast. Like it just destroys your hormones and shit, right? So, but yeah, I was 6'6".
6'6". Okay, cool.
I still feel good, like in general, like I feel great. But yeah, it's just some days, right? Some days you're like, oh shit, like I'm getting older, I guess. But
yeah,
but with technology nowadays, man, like it just takes focus, right? Like if there's enough resources and tools and things you can take that are natural and not natural to delay the aging process and keep your hormones up. And a lot of guys in the stream probably know that. But yeah, man, if you just get those levels tested and all that, like it's a whole thing, right? But if you focus on it, yeah, I mean, we don't have to get old. Like, we can all be The Rock if we want to, right? Like, well, maybe I don't know what he's taking, but he's on a lot of.
Dude, he's on everything, bro.
He's on the whole thing.
Hormone, testosterone.
It shows the potential though. Like it shows what's actually possible if you're taking all the right stuff and you're doing the right work. Obviously, he's got a crazy work ethic as well. But even if you have like a fraction of what someone like he's doing, right? Like just the average person.
Yeah.
If you just take some natural boosters of test, or you get whatever replacement or do just do some sprints. Like sprinting is amazing thing for increasing testosterone just in and of itself. That's what I'm going to start with, the sprinting routine, because it's simple. Even if you just do it a few days a week, you get in some good sprints.
Correct.
Like I used to do it as when I was in high school and training for basketball and stuff. I used to wake up every morning at 6 o'clock and go. There was a steep hill by my house. I used to go sprint up it 10 times, like walk down, sprint up, walk down. And man, does that build your leg strength? Like it's a full body workout, man. You just sprint.
I was about to tell you hill sprints because I know personally
hill sprints are crazy.
Especially because I'm guessing like you're tall and you're also you're probably not as good a shape as you were when you were playing basketball. So it's really hard on your knees because I can't imagine.
I'm heavier, right? Like I'm heavier than I was. Like I was pretty lean then. But yeah, no, the hills are good because you're not putting as much on your joints and shit, right? Like it's not.
Yeah, you guys, let's do it. Plan C. Test is super illegal in Mexico, man. Super illegal.
Yeah, there's lots of stuff here, I'm sure. I'd be worried I'm not getting the right stuff. But
yeah, I mean, there's that whole thing too. Like, wait, no, never mind. Let's say it.
It's tough sometimes when you're like, you want to say something and you remember you're on a stream and you're like, oh shoot, I guess I shouldn't say that.
No, this is real, but it's just like, goddamn. So there's this whole thing where like. It's so ridiculous, but basically, all right. So you know that whole thing where you basically the time you want to be with your shirt off in the sun is basically between like 11 in the morning to 1 in the afternoon. Typically, when the sun's kind of like at the tippy top of the sky, that's when you get the most UV rays or whatever, and then you download the vitamin D and stuff, right? Well, they found out that if you actually get sun on your ball sack,
no, it works. It's legit, man. Like, yeah, it will increase your testosterone, but like. Yeah, I if I think back in the times of my life I felt the best, a lot of times it was I was on vacation and stuff, but the times that I was getting a lot of sunlight, like I spent basically 3 months in Greece. This was years ago, my 20s, but I was getting so much sun, like this daily sun, like at the beach all day. And I even remember, just standing naked a bit, and like you feel great, man. You feel so good. Like you get full body sunlight, and you gotta be careful. It depends where you are, right? Of course. Like, and there's some parts that are, and I'm lucky. Like my skin, I don't burn very easily, so I don't have to be as careful. Like even if I get a lot of sun, like I don't get a bad burn, and so everyone's skin's different. You gotta be careful. You don't want to have any problems with your skin, but yeah, man. It's just I think a big part of the whole scare about the sun is people don't understand that like we spend so much time inside, and then we get so excited when it gets sunny, and everyone rushes out and gets sunlight, and they burn their skin, right? And they cause damage. But if you ease into it over time, like easier said than done, of course, no one really does it. But I mean, we evolved in the sun, so why wouldn't we be able to handle the sunlight? It's so crazy to think about. It's like saying that the air is bad for us.
You guys got to supplement with vitamin D and K right
here. D is good. D is good as well.
Yeah, this is a good brand right here. I like, and it also has a lot of has iodine and stuff, which I mess with because most guys are deficient in zinc and iodine and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Iodine's a little harder to get and stuff, but zinc and stuff. There's a lot of these like micronutrients that you should be getting because a lot of people are not eating enough red meat. Basically, is what it is. Yeah, like. You don't have to go crazy with it, but like we are a lot of our diets, and regardless of not having protein is good for you, no matter what. But a lot of people are just eating chicken and turkey, basically, and there's not that much in there. So you need red meat, carne asada. Like if you have to choose between, always get some carne asada tacos with your abadada, and then it's just adding a little. I would highly recommend just adding a little bit of red meat just for some of those vitamins and stuff, and then taking out some taking some like creatine monohydrate and stuff. You can't go wrong with creatine monohydrate. I'm a supplement king out here. That's the reason I haven't died yet. I should have died a long time ago from like lack of sleep and stuff. I'm keeping it together with duct tape.
Yeah, it's good. You're putting more priority on it now and stuff. It's it's one of those things you can get. I mean, you can get it back. It's just like that initial grind, right? I mean, a few rough weeks of being sore and a few rough weeks of getting in the routine of doing it. But yeah, I think it's important because like guys in this community, like, okay, we're here, we're focusing on investing. We're looking to make money over the long term, have more freedom in life, but if you have a bunch of money but you lose your health, like you're just going to spend that money getting your health back. And that's what happens, right? So it's kind of. I used to be extremely into. I worked at one of the better jobs I had when I was working those kind of jobs was I worked at a health food store for about 6 years actually. I was in the supplement department, and I got like really heavy into researching just nutrition as well as supplements and things, so it was kind of like another passion I had for a while. So, but yeah, it's. There's so many things you can do that don't necessarily cost a lot of money, right? Like it's just like sprinting is like one of the easiest things that can actually transform your health. Right. It's just people don't do it, and you got to be careful when you're starting out because you don't want to go from sitting and so many people end up pulling their tearing their hamstrings. Like people that because it's sprinting, it's an intense exercise, and if you
is that because of stopping? Is it stopping? I'm guessing.
I don't know all the reasons why. It's just like there's so many instances where people that haven't been sprinting or they do other sports or for whatever reason, and they go do like an insane race or a sprint and they tear their hamstring or hurt their or pull their hamstring. Nice. Yeah, I would say so, but sprinting, like it's I have done it in the past at times, and like man, you really do feel good. Like it actually shifts the way your body the biggest thing about sprinting. It's similar to lifting heavy weights, right? It's similar to doing like a lot of leg workouts and heavy weights. There's a lot more to it than people understand, but it shifts your hormones, and that's the biggest thing. You naturally, your body becomes like able to burn fat better and store muscle better, and like there's no fat sprinters. Like you just don't see it. Like,
I guess you haven't seen me, sir.
No. Look at like the thing is like look at any professional athlete in different fields, right? And you look at these marathon runners, and you're like, okay, so would I want to look like that? I wouldn't want to look like that. I mean, they look sick. They look like their bones and muscles are all, and then you got to have a lean build, I guess, maybe to do those sorts of things like those marathons. But you look at some of these people doing these long distances, and you're just like, you don't look that healthy, or at least not the way I'd want to look. And we look at sprinters. I mean, they're always jacked, and they're probably taking some stuff too. But yeah, it's this is the Health and Fitness Podcast with Dollar Cost Crypto and.
We're just having a conversation, man. Here, I'll bring it back to crypto for a second. Yo, Mike Tyson with the $20 super chat. Yo, DCC, it's about time. I finally jumped back into one of your lives. Shout out, bro. This guy works hard, bro. He's a hardworking guy. Just got back from vacation. Heavily invested into DeFi Kingdoms chain. Need some guidance. Rewatch webinars, video. For sure, I'll answer your DM as soon as I'm off the stream and stuff. I will be having another stream later today about DeFi kingdoms and stuff like that. It's coming out right now. Yay! The bridges are just taking forever because everyone and their mom is bridging right now. So bridge as much as you can. So I found out the most you can bridge right now in one shot is about like 9,999 joule in one shot. So you have to make multiple transactions and pretty much juice it up as much as you can. Add the extra gas fees to make sure So I juiced it up to the point. I think my gas fees at like something like 25 joule. 25 one tokens per transaction just to make sure to juice it up so it's faster, basically. But I'll talk about a little bit more about that later and stuff for sure. With the 4 I don't know if that's fast or not. I really don't even know.
Like a 4. Oh, okay, I get it. He's talking about like a 440.
Is that really fast? I legitimately don't even know.
Yeah. I know what he's talking about. Like in football, they do the 40-yard dash, and so that's like you get a time in football for that, and it's people talk about like a 440. I think is extremely fast. So he's saying like 434, which I think would be clove to like a world record or something crazy. But
that's about right, though. If I lose 80 pounds, I probably could do it. Like I was really high. I don't know how I as a kid, and so I used to take a shit ton of karate and stuff. Like I used to do Tansugo and all that stuff, and our karate instructor would make us jump these ridiculous like it was insane. Like I was jumping my entire length of my body up.
Oh, like onto like like jumping up to a block or something? Or?
Well, yeah, we would do block training. I don't know why we were jumping so high, but we were at the time, and like I almost could touch my head onto the ceiling of this studio and stuff. Like that. Along with me, yeah, but it was like we would
so probably like explosive movements for the kicks and stuff. Like I could see building up leg strength with the jumping.
Yeah. I used to be able to spinning back kick someone in the face or spinning roundhouse kick someone in the face. It's pretty cool. It's I used to be. I still can kick like even now, even like how like I haven't practiced since like I was probably 15 years old and stuff.
There's some muscle memory left over. Yeah. Like, even if I mean, anytime you do a lot of repetitions, even if it was years ago, you still have some of that muscle memory there. But yeah, it would take a while to tap into it, and you'd have to feel like you're in the right shape for it. But you still have, I bet you, a bit of that left.
I could still sweet chin music, so I could probably still hit some guy in the face right now. Sweet chin music, which is basically a sidekick. Basically, I could probably kick someone that's probably like, how tall are you? No, but probably 6'4" in the face, something like that at least. Yeah, for sure. But yeah, but oh no, you try. I've tried to like side kick and stuff and do all the stuff like normal kicks and stuff. I could barely get it past like right here, my solar plexus and stuff. Just like the stretch. You really do need
the flexibility, man. You need
the flexibility's gone.
Yeah, I was always, even when I played basketball, I was always like super not flexible, and that's why I kept getting injured. It's just funny how things work out. But yeah, if I didn't have injuries, like I probably would have gone down a completely another path. And my goal was to play basketball professionally in Europe, but I tore my I broke my foot just in
shit.
Hey, just in training camp, actually my third year in university. I was just going up to dunk, jumped to dunk. Well, I don't know if you've heard about the beep test, but you do this like beep test where you run back and forth, and you got to make it before the beeps. It's kind of like an endurance test and stuff. So we did that. We had like a 2-day practice. My foot was like bugging me a bit. I'm like, what's going on? And I just jumped off it and just heard this pop, and it was a stress fracture in my foot.
Oh, fuck.
So, but which ended up being like awesome. It was like the best thing.
Why?
Well, it sent me down a whole nother path that's led me to where I wouldn't change it, man. Like, there's so many things that happen like that in life where you're just like, I wouldn't change it. If you're happy where you end up being, you just whatever. Like, you just had to happen that way. Like I said, if I didn't break my foot, I probably would have played basketball in Europe, and I would just. I don't know. I wouldn't have gone into the health sector, which is what I ended up going into, because I was actually researching when I broke my foot. I was researching ways to get back faster, and I started getting really obsessed with nutrition and just studying health in general and supplements, and that became such a passion that I ended up starting a wellness center business. Where after I worked at a health food store for 6 years, I ended up starting my own business, which we had like infrared saunas and flotation therapy, which so it's basically like hot cold therapy and then flotation therapy. So I started a wellness center, which led me to crypto. It's a long story, but basically that indirectly eventually led me into this field. So yeah, I wouldn't change anything.
Right.
You,
I mean,
I'm sure you had things like that, like there were certain events that had to occur to get you into the space when you got in, right?
right.
And it's funny to think back, like at the time, like I was pissed off, for many reasons, for many things that happened in the past. But I mean, it's just the way it had to happen, right? Like,
Yeah.
do you remember anything?
We wouldn't be who we are if the stuff it's our past experiences who makes us who we are, basically. Well, I knew I was gonna like my dream was to be in finance since I was a kid. I knew that for a fact.
So you've had this has been on your radar for a while. You were just looking for the right thing to focus your energy on, right? Like it was
right. I just kept getting.
What would you be doing if crypto didn't exist? What do you think you'd be doing right now? Do you think you'd still be running your business probably, or?
Yeah, I probably. Well, yeah, I would have kept running I would have fully transitioned into real estate at some point, probably, if I had to say that, or selling, insurance or something like that. Because if I remember correctly, like my brother actually got offered a job and stuff, and he almost took it and stuff. Like, there's like a couple of things that I think if my brother had taken this job, I probably would have done the same job with him because like, my brother ran a bunch of Starbucks back in the day.
Oh, and, he was like, okay, nice.
He was like, he ran like maybe 3-4 stores,
nice,
in our local area and stuff like that. And then basically, he got really good friends with this guy. He was like, my brother was really talkative, and this guy was basically the third top seller of like basically insurance in California. And like he offered my brother a job and stuff. He's like, oh no, he's like, Eric, I think you're fucking sick, dude. Basically, he's like, my brother's like, I'll offer you a job and stuff. I'll pay you like $75 an hour starting plus commissions and shit. I don't know what my brother. That was like, my brother's like, man, I should have took that job. That was
why didn't you really take it? I wonder.
I don't know. He like sometimes you just have these like dirt moments, like you just like. It's like when a girl's like, you want to sleep with me, and you're just like, no, I'm busy right now, and you're like, wait, what the fuck did I say that? Yeah, it's like these like just get dumped like these
these moments.
It happens to everybody. But
yeah, I know what you're saying. Where you just look back and you're just like, oh my goodness, like what was I doing or what was I thinking?
Yeah, what was I thinking? Yeah, basically.
There must have been a reason. He must have had like there must have been a reason for not to take it, but regardless, he didn't.
I think he was getting promised a promotion. I think he was getting promised a promotion that just fucking didn't happen. And then from there,
he was probably in the comfort zone of whatever his current routine was, and he just didn't want to. Things were probably going okay for him. He didn't want to change it, even if it was an opportunity. A lot of people pass on opportunities just because they like to be comfortable, right? And the opportunity, you don't know, it might not work out. And so, but regardless, he didn't do it. So if he did that, you might have gone down a similar path. He might have got in the door and been able to get you in the door as well. You would have done really well with that, I'm sure.
Yeah, it would have been. I know what it, because like basically I just needed an avenue because I'm a pretty good salesman, and it's all it really is just I would have built my whole book of my clientele book and stuff like that, how to passive income from it. And then as soon as like it clicked in my brain, like, oh, Miguel, I do this, I get this. As soon as the incentives and the game structure in my brain, like as soon as it kind of
you need to know what you need to do in order to kind of progress forward, right?
Yeah,
it's nice when you're in a field where it's like number based and you can kind of set goals for yourself, right?
No, definitely and stuff. Now he left that job and stuff, and he's like running. I passed him and my other brother, my businesses and stuff in California.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
And he's like doing all that stuff right now, and then he's just investing in crypto and stuff and doing stuff like that too. It's like which is really cool and stuff. We've had some pretty funny conversations the other day and stuff. I wish we mostly when we talk, we're just mostly talking about the business actually, or like he's like, hey, what do I do with this customer, that customer, and then. Or like how do I expand it out? The business is actually starting to grow now.
Nice.
Again, so they've had it for about maybe like 6-7 months. And of course, anytime you hand over business, it's kind of like it's going to be a little shaky for a bit. Yeah. But now they're like getting in the groove, and they're busy as hell right now, and they're thinking about hiring some more people now. So I was like, fuck you guys.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing too, right? Is you get like fresh blood into the business. You get people that are because it's inevitable. Like when you've been in a business for a very long time, it's hard. It depends on the type of business. Like certain things you just never lose your. Like crypto's a little different, but when it comes to because I had again my own business as well, similar situation to you. I did it for 8 years. And it just was a very routine job. And at a certain point, it's hard to have that same initial motivation
Right.
when you're not seeing like the huge financial returns. And so yeah, I've passed it off to my business partner now, and they got basically someone replacing me that's brand new. And yeah, it's not like, I don't know exactly how well the business is doing, but it's still going. And so it's the same thing as you. Like guys come in, they're all excited. They have their ideas they want to implement, and so yeah, it's just cool to see something you created continue. And even
Yeah.
if it can continue and become even bigger, then that's cool too. Like you get to kind of see something that you started, other people, making a living out of it, enjoying it, and then also see it still exist and grow, which is cool because you started it, right? So
Yeah, it's really cool. I worked on it for a long, long time, but it is a sort of thing of just like it's so crazy how different your life could go just with a couple different things. Like I had one big thing in my life where like I knew I wanted to work in finance, 100%. I wanted to be like those guys that worked on Wall Street and stuff, and were like on the on actually on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange. I wanted to do that, and then I had a teacher legitimately tell me like, Miguel, that's not going to happen, bro. I was like,
why, I love all these teachers that like to tell people what they can and can't do. That's
no, but
hilarious.
he was actually being for
Or
like
is it
but he
logical?
wasn't. Yeah, Mr. Lehman. He was Mr. Lehman, good dude. He was being for real with him. He's like, Miguel, my brother was. He said his brother had just gotten fired, let go from that position. He worked actually. His brother, his I think his older brother actually worked in the New York Stock Exchange, and he told me, what year was this? This may have been 2008. 2008, basically when he told me this. I think it was a junior and in high school, and he basically told me like, Miguel, like my brother's just called, like, it's just getting computerized. Like basically they're only letting like one or two people from the firm work there at all. It's like it's just like that. There's like the time when like there's 5,000-6,000 people, it's gone.
Yeah, I
Basically.
could see. I get that, right? Like but there's going to be like, yeah, I understand what he's saying as far as like, okay, maybe that specific job you envisioned
Yeah.
is
He
no
told me some other stuff. He's like, just get a degree in this and then do this. Yeah.
right.
And like
Yeah,
which is cool. Yeah.
yeah, it like redirect you, right? Because like it's not that, yeah, that specific job or position you kind of envision may not have exist anymore, or exist in the same way. But there's always going to be new jobs related to the field. So uh,
Yeah, there's a lot. So that whole game I was telling you about, the expansion pack that's happening, the expansion that's happening for Jewel, for the DeFi Kingdoms game I told you about.
a little bit.
Yeah, it came out today, and right now me and a bunch of other people have like
Is it a land grab right now or something, or what's going on?
no, it's
Okay,
the beginning of the yield farming for the secondary token is happening.
okay.
So we moved all our Jewel and X Jewel over on a bridge, and now we're just sitting like this, like in limbo, waiting for our money to show up for the other chain. And so everyone and their mom is doing the same thing too. So we're
Right,
all
right.
just like,
Everyone's trying to make sure they're not missing out on something, and it's
yeah.
stressful because it's a lot of people are transferring over a lot of money probably, and
I have a stupid amount of money that's not showed up in my wallet yet. Like an enormous, like you guys, like an
are
enormous amount of money. Like I'm talking to Plancy right now, and Plancy's keeping me from roping myself as I'm waiting.
are you like kind of a whale? Do you think in this community somewhat, or
And
to some degree?
I'm up there. I'm up there, but I wouldn't say I wouldn't say I'm a whale because there's guys that were in it like months and months before I got in and stuff, and they have way more than me. Like
Right, right.
like I would say like some of these guys have like a million Jewel or something like that. Like
Right.
yeah, I don't have a million.
How much is one jewel?
One Jewel's like $10. Yeah, sure.
$10. Wow.
Actually, as a matter of fact, let me check the price right now.
What's the circulating supply of it?
Circulating. So let me check. Oh wait, I pulled up the wrong token. I'm sorry. DeFi Kingdoms. There we go. So right now it's at $10.02. Yes, up 13% today. The circulating supply is 76 million tokens.
How much? How many tokens?
76 million.
Okay, 76 million. Wow. So it's almost at a billion market cap. Well, 800 million market cap.
800 million. I suspect it's going to keep going up over time. As soon as all the bugs are kind of done with and stuff, like it'll start going up basically. But
what's the supply? What's the token economics of it, or how? What's the?
Basically, they launched they're originally the game launched on a blockchain called Harmony One. Okay, and they're really the first ever kind of game to go multi-chain with like a successful game. There's claims they've gone multi-chain, but there's kind of bullshit really. They've essentially launched their own blockchain on another blockchain, which is called AVAX. So they have something called a subnet. So they have a sub. So it's a blockchain within a blockchain is basically what it is. And in that blockchain, they call it DFK, or DeFi Kingdoms blockchain. It only uses the Jewel token as gas. So it's gone from a token to it's gone from like a coin to a token, or to an actual. It's an actual like gas token now.
Kind of like Ethereum. It's like Ethereum.
It's Ethereum now. It basically is Ethereum now.
The difference is DeFi Kingdom is able to run on multiple chains.
Yeah, it's going to more chains. So their plans for this year, it looks like they're going to be on Matic in a couple, and I would say 4 or 5 months.
That's a big deal because they can get all those communities involved, right?
Yeah, if on the last crypto mindset course we did, I did a whole presentation on Jewel and stuff like that. For shout out for any of you guys who got in. The APRs were about 500% APR at the time when we were yield farming it. They went to like up until about 3 weeks ago, the APR went from 500-600 down to about 240, and now because of all the money that's been going up, the APRs went back up to like I think they're damn near 400% again. So just printing it right now for any of you guys who have LPs and stuff on this side. Well, what's going on is they're every time they launch a new chain, they launch a new token, and that token has super high APRs, and that's why everyone's trying to put their money over there. But because people are withdrawing LPs from this side, it frees up. It basically splits more rewards on less money, so your APR goes up. That's what's basically going on. So what I personally did is I sold 40% of my LPs on Harmony One, and but here's the interesting thing is because the APRs have gone up so much that I'm actually earning so far from my calculations, I'm earning 130%. So I'm earning 30% more than I was doing when I had all my money in there, just because the APRs went back up. So it's like I was able to withdraw 40% of my money, put it all into Jewel, and then also purchase more Jewel. And then my LPs are paying 30% more than when I had the full amount of money in there, just because the APRs went up so much. So now it's like I'm still earning the same amount of income that I've been earning on Serenvale, and on top of that, when my coins are on over here, I'll be earning an additional income. So it's just money trees. You're just generating tons and tons of income, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and that's inflation or issuance or whatever is what drives adoption. But the biggest thing, what's the biggest with DeFi Kingdom? I mean, you think it's going to be one of the bigger games?
100%. It's the 3 biggest games, right? Okay, if I'm going to give you the 4, I literally can tell you what the biggest games are right now. It's Axes, which Axie Infinity.
Still number 1 by quite a bit.
Still number 1.
Is it as popular as it was, or not? Is it dropped?
No, it's not as popular as it was, but it just has so much money in it that they'll forcefully get themselves, like, they're going to be relevant.
I think it'll be a long term.
Yes.
Like, if it can get through it, whatever this period of a couple months of us being down, if it can keep going, and I mean it's gonna catch fire again. I'm assuming like all these games should do well during the bull markets and the uptrends and everything. So
correct. So God damn it, I lost my train of
thought. They
thought.
could do well even in the down market. But sorry, you're talking about the ones, the 4 that are.
Oh yeah. So you have Axie Infinity. That's got it. It's sat down. It's in its chair. It's gonna be one of the King Kongs. The second one that's sat down is DeFi Kingdoms. They're in that chair now. So DeFi Kingdoms is like I would say number 2 right now. Then you're going to have Illuvium as a
once
third.
Once Illuvium launches, it could pass. Do you think DeFi Kingdom, or once it launches?
Temporarily, yeah, it will pass it. Then it'll be sort of they'll be fighting for like 2 and 3 between themselves, basically. From there, number 4, I would probably put. And so I'm not going to count Sandbox or Decentraland really, but.
Why not? Why not? Just because
they're more like Sims. Like I guess they're technically games, but like they're more like Sims. It's just a place to hang out in a way. It's not really a game. Basically, it's been
around for DeFi. Decentraland's been around now for a while, eh? Like it's.
Oh yeah.
It must have. It's like, I mean, how many years has it been around for? DeFi.
Which one?
Decentraland.
Oh my God! Since early 2017.
So it's been around for 5 years. So yeah. I don't know how long it normally takes. Like what I'm trying to say is, if it would have popped, do you think it would have popped already? Like
it's done fantastic. Like it's done fantastic. Like I was able to originally purchase like the Decentraland coin for like 1.8.
This coin's actually been doing well as of late.
Oh yeah,
it's climbing up the ranks. I think it's gotten at the top. I remember seeing it the other day because I was just scrolling through CoinMarketCap. I was like, oh shit, Decentraland's actually climbed a little bit.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Top 30, top 40.
Basically, when Facebook changed its name to Meta, everyone in crypto was like, "Holy shit, we need to buy every game token or anything that's new."
Right. Yeah.
So,
They wanted to.
so
Yeah, makes sense.
yeah, so back in I would say early 2020, late 2019, the Decentraland was worth about basically 2 cents to a half a penny, basically.
Wow.
And today it's look at that. So it's quite insane. It was actually not that expensive to buy a million mana. So like a million mana today would be what $2.6 million basically. Yeah. So back in the day, that would have cost you like nine, no, not even nine, 6 grand. 6 grand for 2.6 million. This is
Yeah,
this is why I'm telling you guys it pays to be early as well as and kind of buy sort of stuff as well. Like lands back in the day were like cost. This is why I've always been a big pusher of like buying land and stuff. I would say the fourth game right now is if I had to say it's a little early to say, but probably unicorns. Unicorns. There's Gala as well as like I would say Fancy Bird Games, and then that's not even including all the other supplement sort of industries and stuff like the guilds and stuff, which is like Palomos when that comes out. There's this is in terms of what I've been doing as like my structure and stuff for the past year. I've been heavily investing into Phantom, the Pulse Chain ecosystem, and GameFi. These have been the three main sectors that I'm investing in. I'm fully invested already in the Pulse Chain ecosystem, so I'm pretty much done unless another coin or something comes out, then I'll make another investment. But the Phantom ecosystem, I've been doing really well on that, and then GameFi, I've been saying at least for the last 2 months, I've been throwing money into GameFi.
I got an idea, DC. If you're down, you don't have to do it like right this minute.
Yeah,
but it'd be a fun idea just because I'm less up to date on what like all the other coins in the space. Be kind of fun if you want to. I remember we did this on a stream like a long time ago, maybe over a year ago. Go through like the top 50 or 100 coins and just give it an A, B, or a C. Like very simple.
Oh, I can do that right now.
Very simple. Just go through and like the ones that I know, I'll give you what I think. But yeah, I'd just be interested to hear what you say as well. So.
Sure. Okay.
Well, this is like very like low level basic like overviews. This is not
sure.
And it, only 3 categories. So yeah, don't get too excited, guys. But this is just maybe just something for fun here.
I mean, obviously Bitcoin A.
Yeah.
And A being the number one, right? Or like
A just being like not necessarily even a blue chip, just a solid project that has potential. Like A like a pretty low like what I would say is these are crypto standards, right? So, like there's a lot. So the scale is not as hard maybe to get an A or a B, just because there's a lot of coins in the space that are doing absolutely nothing or straight up scams or whatever. So I would say an A to me is something that it's either a blue chip or it's something that is looking like it's going to be here, this cycle for sure.
Right.
Cycle. It doesn't even have to necessarily be like have everything perfect now. It's just that they have a team that it's a legitimate project. So to me, that's an A in crypto. Like it's pretty low standards. A B is something that, is kind of, well, a C is obviously going to be like all the shit coins, like anything, basically a C we wouldn't touch. A B.
Let me just rate these coins from 1 to 10. That'll probably be a little easier.
Let's make it a lot more complex though.
Okay. A, B, C. Okay. All right. Anything less than a C, I think it's a total shit coin.
A is investable. A is investable. B is like your borderline investable. C is not investable.
Okay, got it. All right.
Like A you would invest with. You would put it. Right. You are invested, or you would consider investing. So A to me would be like, okay, if it has the right kind of a pullback, you'd actually put some money in, maybe.
Correct. Okay, so A, B, A. I'd have to say B on XRP. There's like I'm not going to invest in it, but
they've been around.
Something there.
Well, the thing about XRP is, for me, I would give it a B personally, because I think for XRP is it's one of the only coins that's held its position on CoinMarketCap for multiple cycles now.
Right.
Like it's actually stuck around. It's been around. It's got a strong community. So I give it a B. I give XRP a B. So
okay. Solana currently, I would probably I give it a B. I give it a B right now. I think it's actually solid. I think it's a solid coin. It's the main token for its ecosystem. But as of for right now, I'm kind of when I grade the main coin, I'm also grading a lot of the tokens in the ecosystem, and I've been not very impressed with a lot of the tokenomics of the coins. It's VC town basically, but at some point, Solana will pump. It will have a giga pump because it's really the only U.S. coin. It's the only kind of like Padre Hijo Espíritu Santo, Amen. Somebody like it's one of the few only coins that actually was born and raised in the States, and it is a USA chain basically. So if once the U.S. government kind of gets their hand out of their ass and they find out they're like, oh fuck, we're falling behind, you're gonna have a lot of like Silicon Valley money kind of ape into this just because it's one of the only options. So that's what I would give it a B right now. But just currently, yeah, because it's not a shit coin. I actually think it works. Cardano. Oh my God, here we go. Cardano is another interesting one.
Cardano is it's not a C though. To me, it would be a B.
Yeah. On the way we're grading it, yeah, I classified B. I don't own any right now. This is a great coin when we're in a bear market to fucking buy because this is why I say the box, right? Charismatic leader, community. The rest of it doesn't matter. I mean, it does help. So what does the coin do? Who's the leader? Does it have a community? And who are the major investors, right?
The strong community, the token will never die. Like it'll always come back. It is like if there's a strong community, and it's also if you have a team that's raised a lot of money, as long as they're not like an EOS and they're not like straight up scam, as long as they're reinvesting it back into the project. I mean, Cardano's got a lot of capital, so I mean they got the foundation. You know, they got a reputation, and yeah, a charismatic leader also can be a figurehead that's got a big ego.
Correct.
Especially if they're a billionaire, and so they just don't want to. They're competitive, like they want to see it succeed. So that's what Cardano has going for it. Is it has that leader that wants to succeed, that's got a reputation, it's got a strong community.
You also have some big YouTubers that keep talking about it.
There's a lot of big guys that still talk about Cardano.
Shout out to Benjamin Cohen. What's going on, brother? But one of the reasons why he still talks about it is because he bought his bag super cheap, and then his cost basis is low. So, and on top of that too, it's like if he talks about it, there's no pie in his face really, because it's like, I'm talking about a coin that I'm up 10 times on my money, 20 times on my money.
Yeah. I think that's the case, man. I think there's a lot of guys that got in a decent cost basis that have big channels. Like there are multiple guys like with a pretty large following, and I mean, having a guy like Ben he'll have 1 million followers in no time, continually talking about it, it's gonna be around. So
of course, yeah.
And
then we got Terra. I'd give it like an A- right now. An A- right now.
To me,
it scares me at this price a little bit because we're at all-time highs with it right now. But I think there's more pump there. There's more pump there, but there's more places. I think there's more easier places to get a 2-3x than on Luna right now. So it's kind of like if I'm weighing it like in terms of like I'm only talking about prices, not like
I'm not talking about necessarily entry points though, because that's another. Okay. I'm just talking about like if the project's good or not. Like just.
If we're just going off of that, that's an A. It's an A.
It's an A for me. Like I'm not talking about entries. Like it's buying it at an all-time high is always tough to get in on an all-time high of any coin. But I'm talking more like over the next 5-10 years or whatever, 3-10 years, what's going to be here, what looks like it could be a legitimate project in the space long term. Like, just is it a good project? So to me, Luna's an A. It has risks for sure, but But
mostly on the government side, mostly on the I was South American, the South Korean government and stuff. But it's pretty good, and their leader, charismatic leader, coin does good, big community, big investors. I mean, they recently got billions of dollars of extra capital in order to, and they use that money to hold up the anchor bridge and shit. So it's fully funded. They just in the last couple of months bought $2.2 billion of Bitcoin and shit. And then you have Do Kwon out here saying motherfuckers, I'm going to own the most Bitcoin. Literally, I'm jazzing it up a little bit, but he's like, motherfuckers, you know who the fuck I am. I'm going to own all the Bitcoin and shit. If Luna fails, Bitcoin fails.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, it's if having these goals of buying $10 billion worth of Bitcoin, $10 million worth of Bitcoin, and just it gives him a platform to be funny on Twitter, seeing him say, short for me, short for my family or whatever, just familia, it just he's just taking advantage of it. But and it's got people talking about Luna too, right? So obviously, the coin's done well. I mean, to have it continue. I mean, what's impressive with Luna is not only did it pump this cycle so far, but it had a big correction. I think around 50% or 40 something
Yeah,
percent, and now it's recovered back to an all time high. So I mean, the price action. I mean, yeah, it's impressive. To me, it's and now it's in the top 10. So like it's got a lot going for it.
yeah,
It's going to be here long term. The thing about Luna is just getting a good entry at this point. Like, how do you get a good entry on it? But it's one
right,
that I'm yeah. If I don't get in this cycle, I'll be buying it next cycle during the bear market, 100%,
right,
because it'll be here long term, in my opinion, unless something really bad happens with the government or something weird.
correct.
But yeah, sorry, keep going, DC. What about Avalanche? What would you give it?
I'd give it A minus. There's just it's wonderful right now. We're launching on DFK. You're able to do subnets. You're able to make a blockchain within a blockchain. But Avalanche was starting to get gas fee problems. Not as bad as Ethereum, but it went from super cheap to like really bad. And if you compare apples to apples in terms of like Avalanche versus like something like a Phantom, you had more transactions happening on Phantom, and you had like a tenth of the gas fee cost basically. Where on Avalanche, it started getting kind of mildly expensive, like $20 transactions, versus on other chains the transactions were pretty bad. So I mean, during the same time when like Avalanche or like what was it last December, you had more transactions happening on Phantom than on Ethereum, basically. So more transactions were happening on Phantom than Ethereum, and the gas fees only got as bad as like $5 at the worst. Where like if that same version had happened on AVAX, the transactions would have probably been $80 to $100. So
Right.
there's a bit of
Yeah.
a scaling issue there, but we'll see how the subnets work. And if the subnets work pretty well, then that's pretty. It's technology wise, it's amazing what it's doing. Legitimate.
And it's impressive. It's impressive the how fast they've shot up into the top 10. Like just from being out of nowhere, they've had a similar level of rise as Solana. Just impressive. Like this cycle. I mean, some of the
Same
biggest.
VC, lightly same VC.
Well,
So it was
yeah,
these two.
multi-coin
These two
capital. Yeah.
they had a very smart marketing strategy. They gave a lot of like early access to a lot of like Twitter and YouTube influencers and stuff that were related to FTX and stuff like that. So
Yeah, it
they had
works.
the marketing side.
It works, man. Like I think the companies that aren't doing that, like it's kind of funny to see because I'm not like I'm not on YouTube, but even on Twitter, like as I grow on Twitter, like it's funny to see the amount of DMs you get. Some of them are fake, some of them are legit, but
Right.
wanting to push different coins, and I'm just waiting for Richard Hart to offer me a big. No, I'm just kidding. I'll become like the ultimate Twitter hex guy.
Just the Twitter, like
just all
it's Plant Hex.
Plant Hex. I'm just decked out in all the merchandise. No, but like, but yeah, it's just whatever you got to do. And I mean, the people that pushed Avalanche and Solana, like the money they gave to whoever they gave it to push it on these channels or whatever they had to do. I mean, just it absolutely worked. And this cycle, I mean, we've seen some impressive out of nowhere rises, but Avalanche, Solana, and Luna just jumping into the top 10 this cycle has been impressive.
I will say this though about Avalanche, they're very, very professional when when Avalanche does their Avalanche summits or like their big kind of like conference events, they're very, very professional and very, very good, and still has that touch of like a normal person.
Right.
Like community led, which I really do respect. I didn't see that much on the Solana side and stuff. I saw a little more. It was more corporate VC on that side, but I saw more homegrown sort of things being built on Avalanche, and which is pretty cool. And then like during that whole time when you had like time and like Daniele and all that stuff. They had the meme boys out, which I always appreciate. So it kind of made it feel more homegrown, which is really cool. That's one of the things why I think it's having so much success right now, which is really cool.
Yeah, they definitely tapped into like network effects of getting the community of crypto excited. Like you can only get so far just being a VC chain or whatever. You got to get some mass adoption of people. But what about Polkadot?
Yeah, I would give it an A- right now. I think it's great. It's going to survive. They have plenty of money to keep the project running. It's just this slow like release of projects that's going on. So one thing that I do give them a negative. The reason that they have an A minus is because they took too much. They have too much. They took too much time to. They took too much time to fucking roll out their projects, which is the big detriment. If they had rolled up, if they were just sped up and just really started rolling more projects out and had a little more yield farming, they would. I would assure you that it would be like the way how much Polkadot is loved right now. It was loved and stuff. It would be probably at number. I would probably put it if I had to say in market cap, it'd probably be somewhere over here.
Right? The highest it got was like 6 or 8 or something, didn't it? But
I'm sorry.
I think the highest dot was it was 6 or 8 ranked, somewhere in there, like 6 to 8 rank.
Yeah, and it could have been much higher.
It's dropped off, right? It's a little bit dropped off. So like, yeah, it's just interesting to me the different kind of communities and how to what degree they kind of start to capitulate slowly on their community because they see another community growing, more excitement over there. You know, another part of town, and they just like, man, I've been waiting for years. Like I've been promised this and that. Like what's going on? So you're seeing some of that in the dot community. Like you think it's gotten to that point where it's just too slow of releases.
Yeah, but it's going to have its day. Like every L1 has its day. Every L1 has its day in the sun, right? The thing is Polkadots is going to come at some point. It could be later this year. It could be next year, but it will have its because there's a lot of smart people really working on it. It's just they're fucking slow. Like Jesus Christ, they could have released more stuff. And like here's the other thing that I don't appreciate that often is like usually you do get these pumps eventually, and everyone does good, but there's something I call professor chains where like, and I think me and you've talked about this in the past as well, where like there's chains that they pride themselves on and being like we're the most technologically advanced blockchain in the world. The amount of it's like they pride themselves on intellect and stuff instead of usability.
They're trying to impress their peers more than
Correct.
actually get network effects of people investing in their project. Right? It's like, and that becomes a detriment. It's important to have a secure blockchain. Okay, don't get me wrong. It's important to have good tech, of course. But at a certain point, yeah, you're missing out on a lot of opportunities. Right? This is a race. This is ultimately a race of network effects in a lot of ways. Like we've seen blockchains that have raised crazy amounts of money and just never gained the network effects, and they've essentially just fallen off, right? A cliff. Like we've seen that time and time again. So it's not about having a ton of capital. Of course, that helps. You can attract to developers and stuff. But yeah, creating a narrative, creating excitement. I mean, could you imagine if a company like Block One took the $5 billion they raised during the ICO and invested that into buying up every YouTuber?
Plan C, that just takes intellect, dude.
They could have given they could have said any YouTuber that has over 100,000 subscribers, we're going to give you $1 million a year to show EOS.
Plan C, stop! You're making too much sense, dude.
They could have got the entire crypto market shilling EOS, and like every single you get all these guys in early, and you just create you're not going to get every YouTube channel to sell out, but how many YouTube channels would take $1 million a year to show it?
Almost all of them.
And if all the other channels were doing it, then it doesn't become as slimy to do because all the other channels are doing it. Yeah, I'm sure at some point people would start to be like, why is everyone shilling EOS? This is like, but this has happened with other projects. I mean, this happened with Solana.
For way less money. People on YouTube are cheap.
You wouldn't even need to give that. You don't even necessarily need to give dollars. You give coins or whatever. But you take. I mean. Yeah, they could have taken that. First of all, what they could have done is they could have taken the $5 billion and market bought EOS with $1 billion and then given that to YouTubers. So they got in at a decent price, the pump price. So as those YouTubers are getting the coins. They could have done so many things, but you know what I'm saying. Yeah. Like it's like
I know exactly what you're saying. I know exactly what you're saying. There's like it's just dumb shit. Like it's just there's some common sense business stuff they could have done. Obviously there is, but people don't.
Like what percentage of YouTube channels? Like you guys don't do this, but what percentage of YouTube channels are because they haven't figured out a way to actually generate money through offering a good product like a course or something, right? Where they can that has value. They resort to just shilling whatever. So
90.
like, because a lot of people like, well, this is the thing, man. A lot of people that are new to the space, maybe they're new to crypto and they haven't watched many streams or whatever. They haven't seen a ton of stuff. I mean, it took me a while to figure this out. You think people are only recommending things because they actually believe in it. That's not the case a lot of the time. So
the smaller channel. So you typically get more believability when sub 20,000 subscriber channels, and then once they start hitting that 20, 30,000 sub sort of range and stuff, they'll start getting offered deals to do stuff. There's nothing wrong with like if you actually believe in something, but at some point, yeah, like they are just doing stuff to shill stuff. I mean, it just is what it is.
It's different. It is different if you're already invested in something or you really truly believe in it, and that's different, right? Like I mean, I've shilled Cell Token and I'm a long.
But I believed in it. But I believed in it too.
I believe it, right? So it's like, yeah, we all shill or promote things we truly believe.
Brought to you by Celsius.
Yes, that is a sponsorship. But it's different when you're all of a sudden you're promoting a coin that you would have never otherwise considered promoting. And guys like, Crypto Banter or whatever, who they're promoting 20 altcoins in every stream, like, or lots of guys doing this, right? So yeah, it's just it's a different thing. But what people need to understand, and a lot of people probably connect to these dots already on their own, but think about how this works. So you have a huge YouTube channel, whatever amount of subscribers. You're one of the largest YouTube channels. You're BitBoy or whoever, right? So you get allocated free coins of these new projects. They give you a huge amount of free coins. So you have no cost basis because you're just getting a huge pile of coins for free. So you're getting in at the ground floor. You're like a VC that doesn't have to pay. Then they pay you to promote the project on your channel. So you're making money promoting the project, and you're pumping your own bags that you got for free, that you've got in at the floor, so you have no risk. So yeah, you're essentially like you're making money from getting coins for free, promoting the coins you're getting paid, and you're making money because your investment is pumping. So like that's how these big channels, they just make a shit ton of money, and it's okay. It's okay as far as like these coins will go up, but the thing is, their community, it's all so they're going to sell once the coin's pumped. And you got to remember, they got the lowest cost base. So they're going to sell before the community does. Right. And so they're dumping on their community, which, I mean, what happens at the end of the day, and this is how they probably justify it, is they'll make a quarter of their community well off. And the rest of their, like, say half their community will make a lot of money, half their community will lose a lot of money.
Correct. On what they're shilling, yeah.
So they can basically say like, oh no, I made these guys money. Like these guys became, overnight rich and successful.
It's usually less than 20%, honestly. Like if you actually look at it,
only the small percentage that get in at the beginning. So when they start shilling a coin on the streams, and this happens across all of YouTube and all of crypto or Twitter and everything, but it's the first people that get the wind of these projects early, and they don't all pump just because these guys recommend it, but a lot of them do. And so, yeah, you're right. Like probably 20% of the people that hear it first and buy aggressively at the right prices, they make money along with the channels, and then like the other 80% of the community does bad, and then some people just get absolutely wrecked at the end.
Right. That's actually a good thing, because that's a hard thing to deal as like a channel and stuff as well. Like, because there is this whole thing where like you try to bring that information to people as fast as you can, basically. But at the same time too, there is like even if you're recommending coins at a good price and stuff, people don't pay attention, or they do pay attention, they get in, and then what typically happens is when they buy into the coins, they just kind of stop looking at it for a while and then don't take any profits at all. So there's like this happens in the here, and so it's like there is two sides to it versus like the straight up shill, because usually when people are shilling projects that are getting paid for it, it's bullshit projects, and then they're going to go to zero. Basically, they're basically rugs or like semi rugs versus like. But then you're a YouTuber who are just promoting something that you actually really like, and then what ends up happening is that they're just people who just don't take any profits because the greed side of the brain doesn't, they don't have to take profits. So it's this whole spectrum of like people get in super late, and then people get in at a good time, but then they don't take profits ever because they want to go for like the 100x. Basically. Yeah,
you can't be responsible. Like these channels are not responsible. Like if you give opportunity to people and you get them in a good project, or you suggest a good project, and they don't take profits at the right times because they get greedy, like you said, you're not responsible for that. It's all up to the individual of managing their own risk and not getting too greedy, of course. But yeah, it's more about, and I'm not talking about good projects. Like I'm talking about the real garbage projects that are essentially designed to just be pump and dumps, or ones that never are going to be here long term. But like, yeah, and some of these channels have recommended coins that end up being good projects and end up sticking around long term. And maybe they're long term investors and they're going to hold for the long run. It's totally different, right? Like, whatever coins we promoted, I mean, yeah, we're long term investors. It's a different thing. And
I mean, every coin that I think that I've recommended, I've still hold them, or I've literally announced that I'm going to sell them, or anything like that. Like I've tried, like it is a hard thing because I've tried to be as transparent as I possibly can, but it's impossible. It's sort of like impossible to like up to the minute and stuff without like doxing yourself as well.
Oh yeah, you don't need to do that. When you're excited about a project, it's natural you're going to talk about it, right? So that's normal. It's just more the way these larger channels are doing it, in the way that they're getting like a huge amount of coins at the ground floor, and they're just not good projects. Like I mean, if someone recommended, a project like Luna early on, and has held the majority of their coins, whatever, right? Like you're not recommending your community to buy something that's shit. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I wanted to say on that. It's just, there's so many coins in the space. There's a lot of coins over the long term that are just going to go to zero or just going to disappear. And we're going to see that when we get like a deep bear market. But just always kind of question, like, why are all these channels all of a sudden talking about a coin, and how much is it pumped when I'm getting in on it? And just know that and it's fine. Like if you understand how the game works, you go along for the ride, because you connect the dots ahead of time. And you see like, okay, it looks like this coin could get a big push. I'm starting to see a lot of channels talk about it. They must have got positions in it. They're going to continue to talk about it. If a channel is like continually talking about a coin, like, yeah, they probably got in extremely early, and they got coins for free or whatever, right? So
most
YouTubers, with me, I mean, I promote Cell Token. I got in early, but I'm not getting paid. Like it's just a different thing.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, like it was a sort of thing with like me and stuff with like the channel. Like I felt weird about starting a YouTube channel until like I felt weird. Like, of course, is that stupid thing that stops you from starting earlier and stuff. Like I felt weird about making a YouTube channel about crypto if I didn't already make money from crypto already. Like I didn't start my YouTube channel until I was a millionaire, basically. Right. Yeah. Right. So until I made like $1 million off of crypto, I felt like, oh, why the fuck am I making a channel about crypto if I'm just kind of like kind of bullshit, basically? Because like I felt like if I started a YouTube channel and I only had like $15,000 or something like that, you could fall. I see like the temptations of how people can fall into the fuck shit of like, hey, I will offer you this money or that money, right? And that's the reason I've never had to actually taken any money for anything, is because I don't need their money, basically. Yeah, I don't need their money. I actually make like my money from like, you really don't make much money from a YouTube channel. It's just like I love doing it because I love talking to everybody in the chats and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun to be a part of a community and stuff, right? And it's yeah, you got a cool community, that's for sure. But
shout out to Moon Gang, baby. Shout out to Crypto Mindset and stuff. And it was just that sort of thing and stuff too. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with like selling stuff to making a product or doing anything like that, right? But it's the whole thing where like, just the thing has to provide value, or people know what they're buying, basically, or know what they're doing.
Yeah, as long as you're transparent, you're giving people like a heads up on what's going on, and you're helping them to get in, or you're recommending coins when they're at a decent point to buy them, right? And that's yeah, I mean, that's just the reality of it. It's like whatever you believe in, and you've been good about this, right? Like it's like, okay, this coin's overheated, like don't get in. Even if I believe in this coin, like don't buy it right now. Keep an eye on it. If it comes back, like yeah, buy it if you want to, right? So, but yeah, sorry, I derailed the going through the list here.
No, it's okay. This is what it's for right here. I mean, this is what people want. People want to hear like kind of the thought, like what are we thinking about when it comes to the whole space and stuff too. Like,
well, it's an important topic as far as like, I think if anyone's new to the space, or even if they've been in the space for a while, just when you're looking, just look at the whole lens. Like look through, look at all these YouTube channels and Twitter or whatever, and just look through the lens of what are the incentives for people promoting certain things. And like we already talked about, there's a way to do it and there's a way not to do it. And you get a mixed bag. You get a lot of people doing it the wrong way and you get a lot of people doing it the right way. Everyone's here to make money. Everyone that's, I mean, at some point I'll probably have sponsors, I'm sure. The right ones. I'll promote the things I truly believe in. At some point,
Red Bull and Monster.
Yeah, I'll be.
Right now, it's a 4-way competition. Right now, there's the Celsius brand, there's Monster Energy, there's Red Bull, and then there's Bang Energy. Let's see who sponsors me first.
Yeah, just in the corner of the stream, just have the it's sitting.
Brought to you by Red Bull.
It's just yeah, man. It's funny, you see it everywhere, right? But yeah, we can go quickly through the rest of these coins. Just because people probably want us to, and I'd like to hear what you have to say on it. I'll let you talk. But Polkadot, you gave
A-.
A minus.
Yeah,
okay. What Hex?
Hex, A+, baby.
Okay.
Shake and bake, baby. Shake and bake. I like this price. Obviously, I've been recommending people buying this at 11 cents or that 9 cent, right? Because I said that it was going to wick down. It was going to hit that 9 to 11 cent range. But I've been DCAing into it at 18, 13, 11 being my DCA ranges, and I bought heavily at 11. And if I managed to I didn't catch it at below 11 myself personally. But 11 was good. Now we're at 16. There's just a lot of bullish stuff. Personally, I think the Pulse Chain ecosystems, it's looking like it launches in about a month and a half. But my bet's still on June. But if it launches earlier, hallelujah. But that's kind of the way I'm looking at it right now. Charismatic leader, community. The VC investors are the community, which is what I like. I like community-led projects, and what it does, it monetizes time, basically. So you buy it, you stake it over a certain period of time, and then you receive more of the coin. And the way the tokenomics works is if you lock up, a lot of people are locking up the rewards for that. So people who are locking up are giving their value for people who have liquid hex, and then vice versa. But then the liquid hex guys are getting diluted because the guys who are staking are getting paid out more. So it's a nice, even sort of a game theory sort of balance to what it does. And yeah.
And one thing I don't think just from an outside perspective, again, I'm kind of neutral on hex, but one thing I would say that I don't know if the community talks about a lot. It'd be interesting to get data on this to compare with all the other projects.
Yeah, of course. Let me know.
But I would say that hex has, just on the surface, it sounds like to me, it has the best APY to inflation rate in the space. So the amount of yield that you get from staking on the project or whatever you call locking your coins versus the actual inflation of the circulating supply, because circulating supply is 369, right? Inflation.
Yep. Inflation. Yeah.
But the actual APY is a lot higher than that.
Correct.
And that's not normally the case with most projects, right? Most projects, the way they do it, for example, like I can use lots of examples, but just whatever project, it depends on how many coins are being staked. But all the coins that are staked are receiving a cut of the coins. So say the inflation rate on a project is 10% inflation, but half the coins are staked. Just as a simple math, they're getting like 20% yield or something. But the difference with Hex is just the fact that the OA doesn't stake a lot of their coins, right?
And that was intentional, and it was a thing that was kind of like heavily criticized in the begining until people started understanding.
No, it's actually probably one of the smartest things that Richard did. It's actually a way to separate yourself. So in my opinion, again, I'm outside person. Sure. But in my opinion, I mean, Richard's smart in his game theory. And the reason why he designed it that way is because he said, okay, I'm going to get a lot of appreciation on my coins from the fact the coins are going to go up. So I don't need to generate any yield on my coins, or I'll generate very little yield because basically I'll give the community yield because that's going to drive more adoption of the project, which is going to cause the price to go up. So I'm going to get my money regardless, but this rewards the community because I can have a low inflation rate and I can control the majority of the supply. But then I can give high yield incentives to create this structure that allows capital to flow in. Most of the coins are illiquid. It's going to cause the price to go up. So it's just smart. It's like people can criticize it any way they want. Hex has different reputations in different parts of crypto. I'm pretty
Right.
neutral on it. I just look at the game theory, and I just think that it's one of the smartest game theory projects in all of crypto.
Yeah.
There's just no way around that. Like you can argue other projects are better this and that, but like for me, people might not like the project, but they can't deny the fact that the game theory is smart. And also, and a big part of this is that ratio of inflation compared to APY.
Correct. Yeah.
And I don't know if there's another project that has that good of a good of a kind of
There
a
isn't.
ratio between the two. Some projects don't have much inflation, and they don't offer
Right.
much incentives to hold the coin. Like it's tough to get adoption in this space if you don't have some sort of yield or
Right.
some sort of incentive to stake. It's an uphill battle. So most projects are inflationary. Some are like hyperinflationary, right?
Correct. That's
Yeah.
most are hyperinflationary, or it's pretty ridiculous. Like
What,
usually when a
what?
project launches, like all their supply, like 80% of their supply comes out in the first 2 years.
Right. See, I wonder why Richard chose 369 because he could have gone.
Fibonacci sequences.
Yeah,
Fibonacci.
it's in that. Yeah, it's a because the reason why is because he could have done a higher percentage inflation, and he could have offered a lot higher yield. So I wonder, like, because I mean, he obviously had his reasons, but if he would have done, say, double, right, he could have offered double yield, um, and still been relatively low inflation. Like, considering, I guess, like, he could have had 7% inflation, say,
Right.
and now with 7% inflation, that's still not crazy compared to most crypto projects. 7% inflation. A lot of projects are 10 plus. At 7%, because and if he doesn't stake any of the OA's tokens or a really small amount, and he controls 85% of the coins, like think about the APYs already on Hex, and I would double them.
Yeah.
You could have doubled everything,
Yeah.
and that would have
And
drove.
if you actually double it, it could even be higher actually than 80%. I mean, it could the way it could in terms of the way it could work out and stuff.
Well, for the longer stakes, like for the people that are
Right.
staking longer term, they would have got even more coins. So there's
Correct.
obviously a reason he probably felt like it was enough incentive already, and then the low inflation rate because people like to have things that are low inflationary. Um, at the time, maybe 369 was just like maybe this was before because Hex was created a little while ago, so maybe back then there wasn't as crazy inflationary tokens, and so
Yeah, you're correct.
he was
Yeah.
he was probably thinking like I need to compete with like Bitcoin and Ethereum when it comes to inflation. I don't want to be too much higher than say like a Bitcoin or an Ethereum project.
Correct.
But
Yeah.
what he didn't consider is the fact that there's so many that Hex isn't going to be compared to those projects for the most part because it's an altcoin. Maybe it
And
will long term, but
and I truly believe that's one of the reasons why like we've had the addition of that's why the Pulse chain and the Pulse chain ecosystem is being created as well, because though there will be yield farming incentives, but a lot of people who hold a large percentage of the supply of Pulse of PHEX Hex are then going to roll money back into that ecosystem. So it's like what Hex is going to become is just the reserve currency for the basically the Pulse chain ecosystem or the Hex ecosystem really. So it's and then it's like you have a bond. You have essentially like, oh, let me park my money here for 5 years to get this bond and collect this steady rate
yeah,
on.
I think that's part of it, right? You see, because it's kind of like being compared to a bond, you want to have a low inflationary rate. So I think it was probably smart to do the 369. Just in an alternative world, if you did 7% or something, I wonder how that would have affected adoption. It could have been worse. It could have been better. Who knows? Shout out to someone in the comment section though, because they said if Plan C gets heavily into hex, he would have to become Plan triple X.
Triple X. Actually, that's a great name. Actually, if I could find it, let me see. That's such a great comment.
I should let you go through. I'm derailing you on every
No, no, no,
token.
that's great. Like,
Well, there's only so many tokens we'll go into, but
yeah, it's a great token, great community, pretty nice, pretty nice community and stuff, and the people are super excited with it and stuff. Like the main thing with this token right now is if just buy some, leave it in the MetaMask, and then once the ecosystem launches, you will get another copy of your hex onto another chain, and you'll be able to. You basically are just getting free value from it over time. And I think over the next 3 months, we're going to see pretty much a retest of all-time highs on Hex again. So it's pretty nice. I'm very, very bullish on Hex right now, personally.
Is there a community fund, or is there a way they're because, like, okay, I wonder what Hex is ranked at as far as, there are sites you can look at kind of metrics for this, but I'd be curious to know kind of how Hex ranks up as far as community, because I do feel like community is a huge part of the
Right.
of these coins, and it'd be interesting to see overall if you could somehow
Active addresses, like in terms
ways to
in terms of like stake, in terms of stakeable, in terms of addresses that are actually staking, there's about 81,000, 83,000 people staking.
Significant, yeah, significant.
It's pretty significant. In
I
terms
just
of
know how that compares. Yeah, but also just activity of the community. Like, I'm just curious, because to me, like, that's the biggest thing with the project is, well, you know, it's good game theory, but then you have that community, because again, people will bash it, or they'll promote other projects, or they'll promote other alts, like whatever. But the thing is, a lot of these coins just don't have a strong community.
I would place it right here. So it is more active than just about every other coin on this list, other than, like, of course, USDC is used by just so many people. I would even probably say it's a toss up to see who's using it more, but I would probably put it at number 6 in terms of, like, the way it's ranked right now is, like, Bitcoin has tons of users, Ethereum has tons of users and usage. Tether, of course, is utilities being used by a lot of people, by a lot of chains. Same thing here. So I would put it right now 6th. Below this, I don't think there's a single coin being used more.
No, but yeah, the community-wise being just like the amount of people,
it's massive.
That are actively involved in promoting the token online. Like, in that regard, it'd be interesting to rank all the projects. But
there's no community that has more YouTubers per. So it's like, if there's like a YouTuber per capita or a YouTuber per market cap, we're the most amount of, like, people, like, actively YouTubing. There's more YouTube.
There's not a lot of big YouTube channels promoting Hex.
So, well, other than Richard and stuff, we're talking about, like, the average channel. We're talking about the average channel is probably like 3,000 to 20,000, in that range. That's kind of the range, but the community is growing. Like, I would pretty much predict in the next 6 months a 2x on the channels at most. Right. So right now, I think the biggest channel, I think it's Crypto Coffee right now, and I think he's like at 20,000 subs and stuff. Me, I'm almost at 9,000 myself personally, but it's a sort of thing where, like, yeah, I could see Crypto Coffee and some of these, like K4K Crypto and a couple of these other guys, eventually getting to like 15, 30,000 pretty much within once the ecosystem launches. You have more people, the overall, the market, the user market cap, which I think you've talked about privately, will 2 to 3x. And then from there, you don't get the full 2 to 3x, but because, like, there's only so many hours people can watch stuff. But we'll probably Richard Hart go way over 100,000 subs on YouTube, and then the market cap of the people who are exclusively YouTubing of Hex will increase significantly. So someone like Crypto Coffee will probably go 30, 40,000, and, like, other YouTubers are just 2x, go from like 3,000 to 6,000 more than likely.
Yeah, man, it's interesting for sure, because you see how Solana rose because it was relatively liquid, because a lot of coins were locked up with the VCs. And then you had Banter, and you had like Invest Answers, which is a great channel. I don't think he was even paid to promote it at all. I think he just believes in it. But he was a big promoter of Solana. There's other guys too that are big channels. So with Hex, I mean, you get a few really large channels. Like, it'll happen, even if it ends up being smaller channels, they end up being middle-sized channels. Eventually it all accumulates. But, some of these other really large channels, like, I mean, if you had 1 or 2 of them start to really promote it, and their communities really bought into it.
It's happening. It's happening.
It's just a pretty illiquid supply, right? So the price is going to go. Obviously, there's a lot of people that got in really early with Hex that are way up on their positions that'll take profits. So, you'll see.
But here's an interesting fact about that, is that a lot of the guys who were early, a lot of them staked out their Hex. So, like, right. I would calculate really, like, the average Mexican who was really back in the day who got a massive amount of supply, or not a massive amount, but like a really decent amount.
You guys need some on-chain metrics, man. Like if Hex had on-chain,
they exist and stuff. The metrics are there. You can see them. You can go to graphics and stuff. You can see when stakes are coming out and everything. It's just like we're just trying to keep it light because what we said and stuff.
It'd be interesting though, man, to see like a breakdown of. I don't know how you would do it. It's almost like Bitcoin HODLways. You basically see like how many coins are staked out for what lengths of time, and
I could show you. I could show you right now.
Yeah, it'd be just interesting to see, right? Because doesn't it happen now, or you can be if you want. But I just be wondering, like, kind of you could work out a. There's so many metrics you can work out. Actually,
I'll give you the sites and stuff. It's really easy. Like I've got it all broken down. I've got it on a little sheet right here. Where you can give you all the sites and stuff, and you can see when stakes are coming out and everything. I know exactly when the largest amount of Hex stakes are coming out, when the least amount are coming out, what are the best years, what are not the best years. Regardless, like what's the best staking strategies. What are the biggest wallets? What aren't the biggest? A lot of this stuff is out there and stuff. It's just it's compiled out there. It's just people. You sort of have to look. I would say on-chain analytics wise, obviously, you have nicer tools for Bitcoin and Ethereum and stuff. But I would put Hex right at number 3.
Yeah, I mean it's all on the block.
Right at number 3, like literally just below Ethereum in terms of like.
Yeah, there's not a lot of on-chain stuff for anything other than Bitcoin and Ethereum, really.
Correct.
Like there's not like Glassnode has basic metrics for all the other coins, but yeah, I mean if Hex has all those metrics when it comes to the staking, it's very interesting because there's an incentive for people to hold those coins, right? And yeah, they can always unstake early and they'll take a penalty, but and it just depends on how much the coins run. If it runs like crazy, you're going to have profit taking even with the penalties. But at the same time, there'll still be a lot of people. People don't like getting a penalty, right? It doesn't feel good. So, and also that greed kicks in, and you think it's going to keep going. So, and it could. And
$1 to $2 is coming for Hex. After we get the 90%, the 85-95% correction, or 90% correction, I'm sorry, on Hex, then we'll start running to about like $5 on Hex. And then people are like, what? But yeah, that's what happens is like we get these new all-time highs, we get a big 80% correction, and then back up,
I would say the worst thing that Richard can do is promote Hex. Like honestly, the worst thing he can do is promote Hex, because don't draw attention to the project. Like don't draw regulatory attention to the project. Don't create a centralized figure of the project. Like let the community do its thing. You've created good game theory. Let it play out. Work in the backgrounds, but just keep your ego aside and just be quiet. Like he honestly is the biggest liability to the project, because
it's a good luck, sir. Good luck, sir. I don't think that's gonna happen, dude.
Like I know, but long term, like it's just I can see this happening because of the way Hex is designed. It doesn't take a lot of capital to create a high market cap, and that's why Richard Hart put out the narrative that market caps are not a real thing. They are a real thing. I disagree with them. They are completely real in the traditional system of stocks and equities, but in crypto, it's just a whole different game. And so in crypto, yes, you could argue that the market caps have less meaning. They have meaning. It's just Hex is a very unique project because there's it's just an unnormal.
I semi agree with you. Because you are market caps aren't total bullshit, and I'm agreeing with that. But it's more of like, I think when most people are talking about, when they talk about market caps, they're more talking about liquidity, really, at the end of the day, versus because you can't sell market cap. You can only sell like your coins versus like how much liquidity is in there without wicking the price against yourself, right? And it's a sort of thing of like, well, like if enough people sell, the price is going to collapse on any asset, right? If every shareholder of Apple sold their Apple stock right now, Apple would go to fucking nothing.
Of course, but Apple has like so yeah, market cap. So it's I mean.
You're more talking about liquidity versus the market cap.
There's right? I mean there's like three different things, right? You have market cap, then you have volume, right? Or you have like the cycle velocity of money, right? You have the cycling of capital, which allows liquidity. So you have velocity of money / liquidity / volume. That's one aspect. The third aspect is realized cap, which is essentially, what was the value of those coins last time when they were moved, and if you add that up together, you can create a market cap. So the thing about Bitcoin is its realized cap is 50% of its market cap, roughly speaking. And so you have just as simple numbers, Bitcoin's $1 trillion asset, say. You have a $500 billion of money that's been moved at those prices. So that is
and moved, sold, or just like moved from wallet to wallet.
Well, most of the time when they're moved from wallet to wallet, it's pretty much guaranteed it's for some sort of a sale. I mean, it's not always the case. It's definitely not always the case, but with Glassnode, they can determine. There's wallet management of exchanges and stuff, and all this stuff. They can actually use algorithms to take that out of the equation. So, like, I would say, just as a number, like 90% of the time or more, when coins are moved, they are being sold. So it's pretty accurate. But the thing about the realized cap is you have a $500 billion of value that's already been exchanged. So it's the market cap of Bitcoin is real. It is real. It's a legitimate $1 trillion asset market cap, because you've already had $500 billion of realized profits taken out of that network, right? You have to look at how much.
But that's exchange. Is it so? I think what you're talking about is like transactions and stuff, because
I'm talking about realized profits. So like if someone
realized profits into cash, so you think
I know it for a fact. If you look at the realized cap of Bitcoin, you can actually see how much profits have been taken since the beginning of Bitcoin. Bitcoin has generated $500 billion of realized value and transfers. Meaning, in order for that to occur, you have to have $500 billion leave the network and $500 billion come into the network.
Yeah. Yeah.
So one of these projects, you don't have that amount of capital that's left the network. It's in the network. It's technically sitting there, and you could say, and that's why the market cap, he'll say, on a lot of these altcoins, the market cap is 100% fake. Because you haven't had an actual realization of that capital. In theory, it's in there and it's valued at a certain point, but it's only valued there if you only get that money if someone will buy it from you on the way out and the coin doesn't crash. So again, it comes down to liquidity, it comes down to volume, and it comes down to velocity of money. And this isn't a bash against Hex, because Hex,
no, of course, no, and I know that because like the way Hex is set up is it's on purpose low liquidity, on purpose.
But it has decent volume. I mean, if Hex is doing a $10 million a day in volume, given the fact that most of the coins are locked up long term, that's not horrible. And also given the fact, remember, the market cap of Hex, 85% of that market, so the market cap of Hex, only 15% of that is with the community, and 85% is with Richard or with the OA or whatever.
With the OA, more or less, yeah.
With the OA, whatever you want to call it, right? But Richard's long-term. He's a long-term investor. He's going to realize his gains, but he's going to do it in a way that's not going to hurt the project. He's invested. He wants to see Hex succeed. I don't doubt it. And so I just don't see him dumping on the community. I don't. I think he's smart enough to figure out ways to generate capital from his coins without having to sell them on the community and hurt the price. Regardless, that's speculation. But I would just say that it's just market cap is something that in certain situations it's kind of propped up and fake.
I'll say on 95%, 95+% of market cap is kind of shit.
Most projects, it's not legit market cap. I mean, there's only a few that
it's all about like what we're talking about here, because like you're right, like Bitcoin's the most liquid coin in the world. Of course it is.
Its market cap is legit. Bitcoin's legit.
Yeah, it's market cap. Yeah, I would say it's
with Ethereum. It's legitimate market cap.
But that legitimateness is also it's a double-edged sword, because the more and more liquid you are, it becomes it ends up getting that problem of the problem with large numbers, right? Like if over a long period of time, over 10 years, like I mean, for sure, Bitcoin's going to hit $1 million. For sure, $1 million, right? But if I take the current price of Bitcoin right now, right? Like, all right, let's take $1 million, right? I mean, it's basically 20x, but I just want to be a little more like exact with it, right? Divide $1 million by $47,193, and it's basically 21.1x. Basically, and it will hit that over this sometime within the next 10 years. For sure, this decade it will hit $1 million this decade for sure. for fucking sure. But over that same decade, if I take the same capital and I love Bitcoin legitimately, and like if it's one of the places where like just in case Miguel is retarded, you put a couple BTCs, some Ethereum, some Hex in there, put that away on a Trezor or a Ledger, break glass in case Miguel retarded, you can restart yourself again, right? Like these are like I would consider those three like sort of like the doomsday assets, right? Of like these are the backbones of like I need to restart the whole thing or something like that. It's like BTC, ETH, Hex for myself personally. For some people, it might just be Bitcoin Hex or Bitcoin Ethereum. I'm sorry, or some USDC or whatever the hell it is. But it's like I find it pretty foolish if people don't have don't have BTC and Ethereum as like I'm gonna put this away, and I know in a couple of years it's gonna be still worth something, and I'll be able to trade myself back or like invest myself back into relevancy in the space in terms of like a whale status. Because if you have a couple Bitcoin and 32 ETH and stuff like that, there's no way in hell that you can't through a cycle low take that, invest that into solid projects during that new cycle, and then get yourself into a really strong category again in the portfolio. That's why they're amazing, but. Bitcoin suffers from like success, which is like as you increase your liquidity, it takes more and more money to pump the price up, right? It takes a really large amount of money, and it's the law of big numbers. Ethereum I would say it's 43% of the market cap of BTC. I would say Ethereum's very liquid as well. It's extremely liquid, not as much as Bitcoin, but it takes much less money to pump Ethereum. And it's that sort of thing as you keep going down. And then some coins are like something like a Binance chain coin, like.
But I agree with you, DC. But it's kind of a double-edged sword. I do feel like there's two sides to that coin because I would say it's true. Yeah, you do need more capital to push up the larger market cap coins. 100%. There's no doubt about it. But I would also say that they're really large money. Not necessarily retail. We're going to see a real split off, I think, in the next cycle with retail investing in Bitcoin, Ethereum versus large capital, large players. Because people will start to do the math and be like, there's just not the returns left on Bitcoin for these retail guys that want life-changing money. But whereas the guys that already have life-changing money that just want to keep the life-changing money and just want to put like 1 or 5% of their assets in a Bitcoin or Ethereum, it's a great investment for them, because they look at it as like a uncorrelated to their other assets. So we're going to see, large capital likes big market cap investments because they're more liquid. Bitcoin's great as far as liquidity compared to where a lot of these wealthy people can put their money. They put it into real estate, they put it into gold, they put it into these other things. It's hard to get their money in and out. Like Bitcoin is kind of perfect in that way for them as far as once it becomes over $1 trillion market cap again, and once it gets to multi-trillion dollars, it becomes more, in my opinion, actually more appealing to these large institutions.
No, of course, yeah.
But for retail, it becomes less appealing. So it's like it's going.
It's more of a piggy bank. It's like I'm gonna store it like a tenth of a BTC or in a Bitcoin just it's an insurance. Like the way I treat it is a gold or an insurance plan. It's like that's the way I treat Bitcoin. I treat go ahead.
But what we're just saying, like for guys like ourselves that got in at a good cost basis on Bitcoin, we're getting the best of both worlds because we basically still got the X's on the coin, but also we have the downside risk is constantly being reduced each cycle. And so, but we still got the multiples. So it's people coming in later into the game. Like once Bitcoin's over 100,000 and once it starts moving up to these higher market caps, like you said, it's going to hit $1 million. Imagine, I was thinking about this the other day. I'm like, imagine the psychological resistance there's going to be at 100K Bitcoin and $1 million Bitcoin. Like the amount of resistance at $1 million Bitcoin, how many people are going to have, a couple Bitcoin or one Bitcoin that are going to be realizing, like it's just psychologically, like it's going to be such a hard barrier to get over. And like for me, I'm going to hold Bitcoin long term. I'll hold some probably even longer term. But there's going to be people front running that million because the resistance there's such a resistance level. Like it's just going to be the most absurd psychological resistance level.
It's unit bias.
It's psychological levels, unit bias, and all that. How hard is it going to be for someone to buy a Bitcoin over $1 million? Like the people coming in, again, there'll be institutions that will allocate, but like all retail will be like completely priced out at that point. Like no one's going to buy like one Bitcoin at $1 million. I don't know. Things.
No, there will be rich people.
Some
Like
people.
here's what I believe. Like, so you're right. I think we hit the million and it's gonna wake down just like that. It's gonna happen, right? And you'll even have some of this on Hex as well too. Like this like $1 and some change because it's just if there's $1, $1 million, it's the same. It's the same sort of like head rush, sort of like holy fuck, like oh my, look at all this shit, right? And
it's easy math for people too because they know
correct.
how many coins they have and they know it hits this price and it. Yeah, sorry, keep going.
Oh no. And then what's going to happen is eventually there's just going to be a slow pump to about what's going to happen is the psychological sort of thing won't happen until basically we start hitting like 1.8, 2.5 million, and then it's kind of gone. There won't be that psychological level anymore until it hits about, I would say, 10 million. If at that point, if we still even have the dollar anymore.
Well, I mean, and what'll happen is there's just no one going to be like at that when those high numbers, like there's just no one that's going to be pricing Bitcoin in Bitcoin terms anymore. Like they're going to have to denominate it in another way of doing it because it's like a stock split. Like they're going to have to be like, you know what, this unit bias is becoming so against us. We have to reprice it. We have to figure out a way to create Satoshis and do it, price it differently because it's just going to become so bad for the unit bias. I bet you it'll happen before a million. I bet you, even around 500 million or 500,000, the community is going to have to come together and say, guys, we got to change this. Like it's just too much of a barrier of entry. We need to reprice it. We got to get that unit bias way down. Like somehow divide everything by 1,000. Like just get
right. I mean, I personally, and I've taken flack for this, saying that like I truly, like, hand on the Bible, I believe this, that this may not happen until the mid 2030s or the 2040s, but we're going to see a collusion event in a way where like if let's just say this whole Bitcoin narrative does really like, and I think it will, but if this whole Bitcoin narrative or this kind of cryptoization of the entire world, where BTC is really one of these main reserve assets of the world, you're going to have more centralization between large corporations and nations being the main miners because they can essentially afford to have free electricity, and it's strategically important for them to do so. That I truly believe that they're going to add a permanent inflation rate to BTC at some point because you have enough halvenings, there's not enough BTC coming out, and if let's just say these if you believe the whole kind of Bitcoin narrative that all these fucking all these fuckwit like maxis believe and stuff, that like because like the mental masturbation that a lot of maxis have is like, I have one Bitcoin, and as soon as there's no more Bitcoin, I'll own all the resources, and like I'm perma rich forever, and like it's sort of the same sort of thing when like people mentally like masturbate over like the zombie apocalypse, and like, oh my god, I'm gonna survive the zombie apocalypse because I'm prepping right now, and then I'm gonna have all these beautiful women come to me. Like it's like a lot of that, it's that whole survivors. There is like this whole thing of like, you guys are stupid because you guys aren't prepping right now for like the zombie apocalypse, and then when that happens, I'll basically inherit the earth. and there's a bit of that in the maxi like Bitcoin narrative, whether they know it or not.
Yeah, I would agree. With that.
And and it's if that's going to happen, you still have militaries and you still have people, and if you know how people are, they're going to eventually push all people out and then control the mining, and then I think what they're going to do is a slow rug where like they're going to do this. They're going to say, hey, these Bitcoin have not moved.
Oh yeah, I remember.
Yeah. These Bitcoin have not moved in these many years. How about we just put them right on top? It's not going to be adding inflation or changing nothing Satoshi did. Hey, how about we just take the Bitcoin that haven't moved in like 20 years?
But how can they actually with the miners, you're saying?
With the miners, yeah, it's consensus. They'll put it out there and they'll go for a vote, and then eventually they'll like, all right, it's agreed. We'll do it in 2 years. They're gonna be really like chicken shit. Careful about it, and they're gonna say, you guys move your coins one Satoshi has to move in the wallet, and then your coins will stay safe. You guys, they'll do it for 4 or 5 years, spreading it out, and then 3, 2, 1, they'll put the money right back on top, and then the mining reward will go back up, and then but eventually what'll happen is they'll go through all those coins, and then they'll add a permanent inflation rate. Yeah. If all the world is really like on top of the Bitcoin narrative, right? Eventually that's going to happen because you need inflation. You do need inflation because the governments and these institutions will need that income with that and stuff.
I agree with you that you need a strong incentive for the miners long term. Like you can't allow that miner incentive to go away. If it goes away, then you lose the value of the network. I mean, you need a very strong miner incentive long term. I do believe the price going up. I mean, it does extend that out quite a long time. You do need the price to go up for those rewards to remain high and everything. And also, like, I mean, yeah. So there's that. Oh shit, I was going to say something else. Something to the miners, but yeah, basically, I think that's pretty. Yeah, it's a pretty far time away from now. Like that's an issue. But yeah, I mean, you first
15, 20 years. 15, 20 years.
Yeah, I mean, which is a not crazy time, I guess. But yeah, what you mentioned originally when you said that, I was like, no way, that's never going to happen. I'm like 50-50 on that. I think that's a highly possible scenario because of, I mean, it's logical what you said as far as they would have to give like a huge heads up and give a easy solution to like just move your coins. But I think, yeah, if the whole network agrees that these coins haven't been moved now in like 35 or 40 years and they're not moving their coins, like these are lost coins. I think all they're going to
politicking. They're just going to they beat you with a little inch.
Yeah, there'll be lots of kind of like opinions coming out saying like this the biggest players in the space or whatever will come out and back this idea of like okay, these are lost coins, you know, we need to but if they're lost coins, couldn't they give them back to the original owners?
Like yeah, right. Like they'll come up with some bullshit thing. Like the amount of resources we'd have to spend to find who these people would be.
Wouldn't okay if you lost the coins? No, because then you can't access your.
Right, but I guess technically,
is there no way to prove? Wait, if you lost your keys, there's no way to prove you own those coins. There's zero way. There's no way to connect you to those coins.
Unless you were very public about it and you were searching for it, then there's enough consensus, people believe you about it. No. So it's possible. It's possible they might like do some little niceries. All the guys who publicly have said this and this, or they lost coins, they get the rubber stamp. This guy, remember this guy? Yeah, my fucking wife threw away my computer back in the day and stuff like this and this. I can tell you the hash rate and like here and like there actually will be.
If you could provide like detailed evidence of why you have coins and how you lost them and like this full, then maybe. But could you imagine one of those guys that lost the coins being like, okay, guys, here's the deal. I'll give you guys half of my gains. I'll give you 80% of my gains. Because imagine how much Bitcoin would be worth at this point. Okay, miners, I'll give you 80% of my gains. If you can override the network and get me my coins somehow. I don't even know if that's how it works, to be honest with you. Like I might be completely
No, that kind of sort of exists in a way with people.
I don't know if they can go back though. The miners can't go back that far, man. That would destroy the chain. I don't know if that's how it works, to be honest with you. I don't know if a coin, if just because those coins haven't, like you could be right, but like 15 years from now, if they decide to do what you're saying, right? I don't even know how that would necessarily be. Like again, I'm not technical enough to understand how that would be possible or not. Because
it's nothing. It's not that. It's the memory of the chain is really complex, but it's just adding the system state. It's just literally saying these coins that are here. All they would have to do is delete the coins and then re-add new coins into the.
If it's possible, then if it actually works, and I don't know what would be involved with that. I mean, you'd have to get all the miners on board. So yeah, it would be. It'd be a test of the network as far as like how decentralized it is. It would be interesting, kind of like I'd be interested in more from a political standpoint. That sort of thing would be so risky, potentially to actually like damage Bitcoin. It's all speculation. I think it's a good scenario you brought up because I think it'll be a talking point. Like when they actually calculate, because we'll know here. The interesting thing in the next 5 to 10 years is we'll actually know what percentage of the supplier lost coins.
Correct.
And when that number comes out and they know for sure, like, okay, we have like 20% of the supply that hasn't moved in like 15 years. We know for sure these are lost coins because these coins are now worth like billions of dollars and no one's taking profits.
Can you imagine Satoshi's coins move, bro? Can you imagine?
Did you see someone move their coins the other day? There was some dude that moved his coins. It set off a whale alert because some guy. These coins hadn't moved since 2011, I think it was, or even earlier. They hadn't moved. They haven't moved. These coins hadn't moved in 11 years.
Yeah,
and they were realizing someone did the math on it. It was like $50 they put in for the amount of coins they were moving when they first got them were worth $50, and now they were worth like 18 million or something, and they were selling and it generated. But it just like the fact that they decided to sell after 11 years. So there are people out there that he either found his keys somehow or something, or he finally decided to take profit. So, but I mean, those are so rare events. Like you're talking about triggering like on the whale alerts on Twitter and stuff. So yeah, I mean, I think after 15 years, if a coin has gone up 1,000,000% and you haven't taken any profit.
Plan C, why are you working for the governments, bro? Why are you making a logical case for this, Plan C? I bet you, I really bet you, I wouldn't be surprised if we're still doing this, which I truly believe we will be.
Oh, we will be if the space is.
Oh, this is gonna be on TV right here. Like we're gonna look like soothsayers right here. Like, look at these dudes talking back in 2022 and like actually, I've been saying this shit since like 2019. Actually.
Oh, there's so many of these streams, man. It'll be fun to go back to. But like, honestly, I don't see. Like as long as crypto's around, there's just gonna be so much interesting things within this space. I don't see a reason that we won't be doing this in like 15, 20 years. Like unless crypto is like completely, eventually crypto is going to become the same thing as a financial, like it'll just be all the same thing. Like but yeah, there's just, I don't know, man. We're going to be doing this when we're old and gray.
Oh no, definitely, man. I have a minimum 10 years in this, at least minimum 10 years.
There'll have to be something else that'll come along. Yeah, but dude, there'll have to be something else that'll come. We're both, you're younger than me even. Like the thing is, there's going to have to be something that'll come along that's as interesting as crypto. So,
I mean, it might be. I mean, it might be something in the VR space, or like asteroid mining, or modular homes, or something like that. Or
yeah, there could be something.
Maybe something like that. Yeah. Like, but yeah, I'll just be in all of it. But I mean, by then I'll own Wisconsin, cash. I'll own a different part of the world, which I haven't talked about. I mean, only Charlie knows about this. We'll let you on it and stuff. I'll if I make the money I kind of think I'm making stuff over 10 years, 20 years and stuff. We'll have a crypto land country. That's for sure.
Why not, man? It's possible. It's absolutely possible. I mean, these are the people that that end up owning crazy amounts of stuff. Like these are they got in early on the internet revolution, and now we're here on during this crypto revolution.
And don't worry, you guys. No prima noctra. Don't worry. No.
Sorry, what's that?
I think if I remember right, I think it was like the English had this thing where basically they would. It's horrible. I can't believe they did this shit. But like basically, they would literally screw your wife before your wedding day, before you.
Oh, okay. Was that just part of a cult?
The lords, I think some lords of England would literally, like, if they wanted to, they could sleep with your wife before you could.
Right.
It's just, like, what the fuck, man?
It's just like a built-in. It's just
what the fuck, man. That's just like that. Damn, who comes up with that? It's just like level. That's just like what the
hell. Yeah, man. There's so many things like that in history where you're just like, wow, like it must have been a really interesting time to be around during those periods. And but yeah, talk about.
There's even some stuff of it in the Good Earth. There's like this book that was made in like 1919 or 1921 somewhere. It's called The Good Earth. I'd highly recommend you guys read it. But in the book, there's this Chinese man where he's like super nervous because he has to go to the magistrate or like the local lord of the land, and he's like the lord of the land basically can allow you to marry a woman, and he's like super nervous. He asks like, I don't care if she's beautiful or not, but please, I just wish she doesn't have any pot marks, and then she wasn't too pretty, because what he was afraid of was like if he ended up getting a really pretty wife, the lords, basically all the princes,
they'll just take her.
He just ran through her, and then he gets
and then even just take her all together, right? Like
yeah. Oh no, for sure. Yeah, concubine. It should be a concubine or a run through ass like hoochie.
If the girl was good enough looking back then, there was just the risk that they would just take her to be part of the concubine, like. You know, you just in town, like you're going to the supermarket to grab whatever, and you're with your wife, and it's like, okay, no, she's come with us now. It's like, okay, like what are you gonna do? Like we got the army. We got like, what are you gonna do? So yeah, it's just a different time.
Yeah, it's. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff like that too, but it's pretty dark.
Well, we don't live. Yeah, I mean, we don't live in those times. We have our own separate issues nowadays, totally different problems, but. Yeah, definitely every time period had their own unique problems. I mean, people will look on these times and say, well, those things were just absurd and backwards, of course. But Which we should get through the list though. We got
Yeah, that was quite a side tangent there.
if we spend a half an hour on each coin, we'll be done here in about 48 hours.
48-hour stream, you guys. 48-hour stream.
And we are going to do the 10. I'm holding you to it, DC. We're going to do when Cell does hit $10. We are going to do a 24-hour stream, and it's going to happen at some point.
I know it is.
It'll be this year or next year. Cell hit $10, and then we'll do our 24-hour stream. And then the next 24-hour stream is not going to be till Cell hits 100. So that could be 3-5 years out or even longer. But it'll happen. It's all going to happen.
Definitely. So I guess the next coin is Dogecoin. I would give this a minus, basically, like with a tinge. Like I mean, this is the meme coin that started all meme coins. It is like the reserve asset of meme coins.
The reserve, yeah, pretty much.
It is like you can't shit on it.
Doge has network effects, man. It's a B. I give it a B myself, but it's got network effects. Definitely not a C. It's definitely got stronger community network effects than all these other coins, all these C's. But yeah, it's a B to me. Maybe even a B plus. I wouldn't buy it, but it's probably a B. Yeah. But yeah, you like it as far as
that's pretty much how I there's nothing else to say about it.
You've never owned any Doge though.
Oh, I did. Oh, I owned a lot of it.
Oh, you did own Doge. Okay. Did you do well with it? Because I mean, a lot of people.
I know I did well. I just didn't like. So my original, I think. Oh, was it? I think my original name in crypto ever was Dogecoin Muhammad.
You were into. I didn't know that you were big into.
Yeah, Doge. I was into Dogecoin. Yeah, I was into.
Doge was one of the only coins you could be into back in 2017. Like it was a big coin, right?
Yeah, no, I got some. I bought a ton of it. Was it Binance? I can't remember the exchange anymore. I bought a ton of it on some exchange, and then I bought a ton of it on Robinhood when it came out. Because when Robinhood released cryptocurrency trading on Robinhood, Dogecoin was one of the starting cryptocurrency, which is so strange to me. Like that shit, that always stuck me. Like they had Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, Bitcoin Cash when it came out, and then they had Ethereum Classic, and then Dogecoin. I was like, it's just like, why the fuck would they add Dogecoin? And then I was like, you know what? There's probably a reason they're going to pump this one day. So I just bought a ton of it. Like I think at one point I had 6 million Doge, something like that.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah.
6 million Doge.
Yeah. 6 million Doge.
Okay.
It was not that expensive back in the day, dude. But like, it was like 18 grand, I think is what it cost.
So you would have turned that 18 into, no one saw Doge doing this well. So you can't fault yourself for not holding. And you've done well with other projects, so it's hard.
So it's right now it's still worth like $850,000 if I still had it and stuff. At the peak, probably we worth like $4.5 million, something like that.
Yeah, for sure. But there's a million different projects we could
talk about and stuff.
Yeah, as far as like things that have gone up a lot more than but Doge is one of those coins where. I mean, it's crazy. I wonder how much it has left as far as a run in it. I wonder if it'll ever get to $1 because it's already almost. Yeah, I mean, what was the highest? What's the all-time high for Doge? How much is it down?
I think it was 80 cents, if I remember right.
Is it that high? Should you mind looking at the all-time high? I'm just curious to see.
I truly believe it was that high.
Because I'm wondering how much it's held up during this downturn. Because that says a lot about a coin if it can hold up. I know it's been around for 2 cycles. Well,
70. It says right here 73 cents. It's down 80% right now.
Okay, so it's actually not recovering as well as a lot of other coins. So that's but the thing about Doge is it'll get those. It can have a huge run and gain that all back in one go.
But just imagine where it was before the run till now. It was a penny before the run started on Doge.
Oh yeah, the fact that it's still holding up where it's holding up is pretty good because you've had a lot of profit taking. You've had a ton of profit taking. It's still holding up. I mean, it has that meme factor. It has the it's got network effects, man. It's not going anywhere. That's just such a crazy chart. Yeah, so it's just
right here. Look at it. It's not even a fraction of literally. It was like it had
some dude make like 100 million or $1 billion on Heck or on.
No, it was Shiba. Oh,
that was Shiba. You're right. Yeah.
That was Shiba. Yeah, and then there's some guy. There's a couple guys in there that had $1 million. There's shit on the guy and the kid and stuff. Hey, it is what it is. Like he bought some Doge. He's like, I ain't selling it. Now he's like like doing the rounds. They just they kind of like using some of these guys as like whipping boys and stuff, and they do it for attention too. Or like, I just became a millionaire off of Doge. It becomes a story, and then they're like the Doge profit or whatever, or like whatever the hell it is. And but then these equity, like I sort of respect the equity YouTubers, but they're kind of cunts as well. Like and like legitimately because they're just like so full of shit. Um like basically they like poking fun. They're almost like I can't believe some of the millennial like equities or YouTubers, they act like fucking boomers. Really, like what the fuck? Like all these dudes make all
they are
of the millennial fucking stocks. They're talking about Purple and fucking GameStop and fucking AMC and shit. And like, is any of that shit better than fucking some of these cryptos? Hell no, it's
not really that different. I mean, there are companies behind it, but still, like it's basically the same sort of thing. They might as well be meme coins, like to some degree. I mean, there's still a business behind it, but it's basically the same thing.
They're in such risky shit. Like they're basically like half these guys are investing into like not really, but like basically penny stocks in a way. And then on the other side, like they're high leverage. They have to high leverage trade on like on calls and stuff in order to
those equities, like like any penny stock, any of those meme stocks, like those are way higher risk than Bitcoin. Way higher risk.
Yeah. Like what are people? What is somebody like? If you're below the age of 40 to like 18, what the fuck are you doing making fun of somebody for their investments where everyone's just trying to make it? Like what are you doing? Like look how stupid this guy is. If he was in the companies I would like. But the reason, like, let me tell you this, the reason a lot of these equities guys are all fucking soured on fucking crypto is because crypto fucking stole their shine. It's easier to get rich. Like, dude, you get rich in crypto. I can tell you legitimately, if you're in crypto for fucking 4 years, you'll be a millionaire. I can say that confidently.
If you come in, yes, if you have, if you come in with, you need to come in with a good chunk of money. I mean, you need, I agree.
No, if you're okay, I will say this:
for over 5 years, and you come in with 50 grand, you have a good chance of making.
Over that time, yeah. If
you can't come in with $100, you can't come in with $1,000 and expect to be a millionaire. It's possible.
Well, just with 1,000, no. But if your dollar cost, you can start with $1,000. Dollar cost, like I'm saying, dollar cost crypto.
You might not go to a million.
Dollar cost crypto saying this, right?
Yeah, you can go to 100K maybe, but yeah.
Yeah, but you can definitely you can like I've seen it done. I've seen it happen. I got students of mine that started with like not even $5,000 and they hit the milli.
It's definitely possible. I'm not I don't disagree with you as far as like it not being possible. I just would say for the majority of people, it's not highly likely. I mean, people that are following your information is a little different, but I'm just talking about generally people getting into crypto. Like
correct,
that happening. It's absolutely possible. But I would say, if you need to come with a good chunk of money to hit that million. But there are opportunities to grow it over time. And if you stay in the space long term, like 5 to 10 years, I think everyone can get to that million mark. If you're in it for the long term and you're essentially compounding the yields, compounding the gains, still there's risks. You have to be smart. But if you do think about it as a long term thing and try to get more money into the space as far as
you can't just make one investment and think like you're going to do it. Like you should be DCAing in.
Yeah, if you're constantly DCAing in, if you're buying at the right times, like you do have to play it correctly to get those sorts of returns. Like it is absolutely possible. It's just
you can't sit on your ass.
The more money you come in with, obviously, the more likely it's to happen. But
the last time you could just sit on your ass and just buy one thing, and like I think in 2016, 2017, you could literally just buy Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, the basic Bitcoins on like every exchange, you could have done very well. Litecoin $4, Ethereum was like $1.50 if you could have bought it and stuff. I think it was like $2.50 when it was on Coinbase. When people started paying attention about it, Litecoin was $2 to $4. Well, Bitcoin was $800, $500. You could have easily not $1 million, but maybe if you went all in on Ethereum or Litecoin, maybe because it went to 420. But even on Bitcoin, you still would have done damn near like even if you because most people got skittish around BTC around 11 to 13 grand, and then but that's still an amazing return. You did like 15 times on your money, or on these you could have done like a 50, 100x when you got scared. And same thing on Ethereum. Ethereum did damn near 1400% from like 80 cents to $1. to up to $1,400. So it's just that sort of thing where like you definitely can. And now you have to be a little bit more proactive and active. But if you get into an ecosystem and then you invest them in some of the coins early on and you buy the ecosystem tokens, you definitely can make a lot of returns. But yeah, $1 million in 1 year, probably it's not going to happen unless you already start off with like $50,000, $80,000. Yeah, I would say it's possible, but you got to be smart and paying attention. But over 5 years, you'll definitely do it because, like, most people are, they're starting off at like 5-10 grand, and then they're DCAing, and then over 2-3 years, their conviction really starts going to crypto, and then crypto has this magic effect where you just push yourself harder to start earning more money.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you get it.
That is super true. That is super true, man. Like my journey was exactly like that. Like that what you just said there is extremely true because I did not start out with a large amount of money when I first got into crypto. But what I did do is I sacrificed for 2 years to figure out every possible way to get more money into crypto.
Right.
And I got enough in ultimately that allowed me to get the multiples to reach the goals, at least the first goals. But yeah, it was more about the motivating factor because I saw the potential and the opportunity of the space and the fact that this was like the best opportunity I saw at the time. And yeah, it motivated me to cut my expenses for 2 years. Like I lived extremely cheap for 2 years to be able to put money in. Dude, I haven't told many people this, but I was so back then, this was during the bear market in 2018 and 2019 or whatever. But like, I remember having to go in, I was in Calgary at the time. So like -20, -30 some days. I remember having to go down to the corner store and buy these little vouchers. Like at the time, the Canadian exchange, this was like the only way I could get money into the space. Like basically what I had to do is go buy these vouchers at the corner store, grocery store, whatever they're called, gas stations, different places. They give you this code. You buy it. I think it's like for being able to do gifts online or something. You get these code and you go back to your computer and you have to type in the code on this little piece of paper.
Oh, gift cards. You were gift carding, basically. Yeah.
I was buying through because what was happening is the Canadian exchange kept having problems with the Canadian banks. Like, okay, they had like direct deposits, you could set it up, but then they would keep getting blocked. And there was just it seemed like every month they were changing the ways you would actually be able to transfer money into the exchanges.
Right.
And yeah, it was, and then you get it in and they would hold it for whatever, like a week and before you could even do anything. But I remember having to buy these little gift card things like every couple of weeks, like going and getting like, $500, $1,000. Yeah. I did that for like a year straight. Like, and at this point I was underwater 50 to 80% on my EOS, 50 to 80% underwater. And I was still DCAing in with these gift cards for like a year during the bear market, just getting more money in. But ultimately, I ended up getting a lot more money coming in by getting basically liquidating like everything I had, and even retirement funds and everything, which I took a hit on. In Canada, like RSPs, like you take a hit if you sell them, but it was the best thing to do to just sell all of it and buy during the COVID crash. But yeah, just to your point, I will stop talking about that. But to your point, like, dude, that's what it's about. It's about, even if you have 1,000, 10,000 initially, you learn, you get the money in, you start getting yield, you start whatever. It's going to motivate you to find a way to get more money in. And yeah, once you do get like larger amounts, like 50,000+, then you start to have a real probability over the 5-year plus time frame of hitting like those really large targets, higher numbers. So yeah, that's a good way to wrap that up. As far as like, yeah, I do agree with you.
I totally agree with you on that. Yeah, yeah. That's the hero's journey of every person who's kind of made it in crypto, outside of like someone who's already rich or like they somehow just bought like they're just somehow all in on one coin and it just went it went up and stuff, and it's happened. I know a lot of people. I helped a lot of people do that sort of stuff, but that's why like I try, like I do the crypto mindset course with Charlie, and I try to put we try to educate people and stuff and everything like that, just to expedite that so they don't make as many of the common mistakes. Because if you walk into the space not knowing what's going on, it's complex, and you're going to get rinsed.
And you don't want to get turned off of the space. Like that's ultimately the biggest risk, is you come in. And like, there's many people that if they went through the same thing I went through, they would have just left crypto. And that's what happens during the bear markets, is people just leave the space. I even noticed over the last month, before this little pump we had in the price, I noticed like it felt like a lot of people were less active online, and I think a lot
Oh,
of people were leaving the space. And so, yeah, 100%. Like because if people are new and stuff, like yeah, doing the course and things like that, like it does get you that initial learning curve sped up, and then you're less likely to just get, like you said, rinsed or completely demoralized by the space, or you make some bad choices and now you want to leave. And but you're just going to miss out on the next like 5-10 years of this growth curve of crypto. So yeah, you want to figure out a way to not have that happen. And the best
right.
thing to have that happen is talk to people who actually had it happen but stuck through it. Which is, I mean, there's other people obviously in the space that have done that. It's not just us. There's many people, but I think we both kind of went through that journey, so it's valuable. But we should get through these coins because we're not.
I mean, I'm enjoying the conversation.
Yeah,
Honestly, it's real pleasant.
it's good, man. It's good for sure. It's good to reminisce too about some of these things
Yeah.
because we've known each other now for a couple of years. So,
Oh
so
yeah, we've known
it's good.
for a while and
Good.
stuff.
But Binance, oh, that's a stable coin. So
Yeah, it's still stable. I would just count it the same as Binance. To tell you the truth, I would say it's not as good as the other stable coins, but it's
like
mostly just you. Like I would say it's not. It is used in other ecosystems, but very lightly. It's mostly just used in the pancake swaps and stuff like that on the Binance chain, where something like a USDC and a Tether is it's multi-chain, and it's just about on every. I would say USDC is the most multi-chain stable coin right now.
yeah,
And then afterwards, the fastest growing one right now is UST, which is right below it, number 14. I would count that as the same grade as Luna right now. The one wonderful thing, because Luna and Terra or the UST is basically the same thing. You use Luna to create. The reason for Luna is to create Terra USD. That's the point of it, basically.
yeah, man. I just think that Luna's hit. I don't know how Luna doesn't have competition in the sector at this point. Like, how is it that there isn't another platform project that's created a similar thing? Because it's clear that Luna is winning this category. That again, I'm not an expert on it, but it just from my standpoint, like the network effects, like you look at the growth of the stablecoin space, especially a decentralized kind of option in the stablecoin sector.
Right.
And like what I'm saying is the stablecoin sector is exponentially growing, right?
Right.
And it's going to continue to have a larger and larger market cap. I'd like to see I can look at that on Glassnode actually, like the market cap of all the stablecoins, and it's just up into the right.
It's just up. It's nothing but up.
It's nothing but up into the right. Like there's more money coming into the space that wants to be sitting in a dollar denominated option and getting a yield. So yeah, I mean, and the fact that Luna is already up to $16 billion market cap. I mean, it's just going to keep growing, man. I know Luna is at an all-time high, but like this whole stable coin, the way they've set this up, like there's just no other project doing this. Why is another project not doing the same thing as them? I don't get it. Like, why is there not?
They're just a little more ahead in the curve, but they also had like a lot of money to back it up as well. I mean, one of the reasons why Luna's growing so quickly is because it's one of the easiest ways to park a lot of capital. There's $16 billion worth of coins. So I could be a person with like I don't know, $50 million portfolio and park $10 million of my capital there and earn 20% on it while I'm waiting. That's really that. They've taken the cryptocurrency, the L1 factor, fused it with the stablecoin. It's taking the stablecoin hype to drop the price, and then they're taking the profits in between and using to buy Bitcoin for their treasury.
Yeah, I mean it's really smart, honestly. Like a project like EOS could have done the same thing. They dropped.
Yeah, just dummies.
EOS could have done, like, think about it, man. They had all the same options to do that. They just didn't think of it. But like, EOS with the amount of reserves they had, that 5 billion, I mean, they could have created the stable coin back then and tied it to their ecosystem and been a top 5 project. But yeah, clearly,
or just use $500 million of it, or just use $500 million to pump the price up. Like, if the long as the price goes up, no one even gives a fuck at the end of the day.
Just to get it rolling, right? But like, yeah, Luna. I mean, I just see Terra Luna being. I mean, they're going to be up there. They're going to be competing with USDC and Tether. Like, they're going to be one of the major 3 long term. They're going to be a top 10 market cap stablecoin, easy, probably top. Depends how many stablecoins end up being. In the top 10, but yeah, they're going to be up there. But yeah, anyways, Shiba
Inu and stuff. Actually, I do like the coin. I would say it is a little. I would say it's a little bit less than Dogecoin, but Shiba Inu is really the one that surprised me. I didn't personally think there was going to be another like kind of meme coin that was
Yeah,
going to actually
I didn't
survive,
either.
but it did.
Yeah, I
It
didn't
did.
either. I didn't see it. I didn't see it coming. Like, how many people have tried to replicate Doge and failed? There's been so many. You see them all the time, man. When I'm on Twitter, like I'll get a spam, or what are they called, like just spam comments on your posts that are just
Yeah.
bots, and it's just like, buy this dog coin, buy this dog coin, this dog coin, this dog coin. There's so many. There's so much desire to replicate what Doge has done and Shibu has done, but there's only, I thought there was only gonna be one, and there's two. But are we gonna see a third? I don't know. Are there any other meme coins that are to, like, not to the level of success that we've seen with those two?
Maybe Pulse Doge.
Okay.
Maybe something like that on the Pulse chain or something like that. But in terms of like Shiba Inu, I do want to give them the respect and their flowers and stuff, just
Top
because
15, man.
because a lot, like, from what, so I don't know if this is true or not, but from what I've heard, one of the main reasons why they try to push this out is because people were really pissed off with the centralization and the kind of the fuckery that was going on during Dogecoin. Because I think there's a couple people who owned a lot of it, but then you ended up having the same sort of thing on Shiba Inu as well. You do get centralization, but they couldn't get the Dogecoin people, because there's no developers at all to do anything. So they're being a lot more active in trying to create an actual ecosystem with Shiba, basically. But because prices are down and it's not being talked about right now, it's just, who knows. But I think when things heat up and we get a little more retail, there might actually be like a Shiba Inu exchange and all this other stuff going on. So it's like, that's nice.
Is that volume? Well, that's the thing. Once you have that community, or once you have like that network effects, you can start to build an actual ecosystem around it.
Correct. Yeah.
So what's the deal? Is that, I wonder how much of that volume is legit? Because $1.5 billion of volume in a day is nothing to joke about. Like that.
It's nothing to joke about. I mean, let's just say 75% is bullshit.
Yeah,
that's still put it at 400 million a day. That's still amazing. That's still amazing.
Still very good, man. It's still very good. Even if 10% of it is legit, it's still pretty good. But yeah, that's yeah, man. To be to that kind of that level of volume and that market cap is impressive for a meme coin. That's for sure. Wrapped BTC, it doesn't.
Whatever. A B minus.
I mean, it's whatever, right? Like, it's you can do more things with Bitcoin, I guess, but it's not investment really. I mean, you can earn more yield maybe in some ways on Ethereum or whatever. But what about Crow?
I would say this is like, in terms of all the, like, in terms of the tokens of like, all right. So I would put this is a category of like decentralized sort of tokens, like a Celsius, a Nexo token, a Chronos, all this stuff. Like, I would call this the most improved, basically, in terms of what they've been doing. I would put this as a B plus, or maybe even an A minus right now, because they do have their own chain right now. They have a working, sort of semi-working L1. There's starting to be some yield farming on Chronos, but it's just like there was a point when Celsius was above this coin, and then these guys just pumped the marketing dollars into like buying a stadium, and on top of that, they got LeBron James in commercials, so they're getting a lot of the normies in, and they have a lot of money. So I do believe they do deserve to be in the spot that they're at right now. And Chronos is a cool name for a chain, honestly. Chronos.
Yeah, it's a good name for sure. I think they've done a lot well on the marketing side. They've created a lot of incentives for people to stake and use their coin in different ways. I'm not an expert on their project or their coin for sure, but they do dump on their community periodically. Like, when it gets pumped up, they'll dump, which I mean allows them to fund more things. Basically, they pump the token. When the token got pumped from them buying the stadium for the Lakers, which is a pretty big deal, the coin was up to, I think, almost 90 cents or something pretty high. And they sell, right? Like, they're just going to dump on their community, but that allows them to have a lot more capital to go out and get another big, sponsorship to pump the coin again or do so. I mean, yeah, you can't fault them. For me, I mean, the fact they were at 17, they're there. I mean, it's just whatever. It is what it is. I mean, like, they're doing something correct to be able to maintain that spot. It's not easy to be a top 20 crypto market cap wise. So they're there. You got to give them their props. I don't really like the project myself, but then I'm biased because I'm also believe in Celsius. So but at the end of the day, I mean, people that got in early with that project have done really well. So it's just I just put them
in a race. These custodian coins. These custodian coins, they're in first place right now.
They're winning right now. You can't deny the fact that they're winning. So you got to give them their props. And we'll see. I mean, the fact that a centralized whatever you call it, DeFi coin is in the top 20 is good because I guess it shows the potential of if a centralized DeFi, like a CeFi project, actually does things properly and actually gets their shit together, there it should be a top 20 coin, right? And I'm speaking about like Celsius, right? So it shows the potential of where they've already achieved and where other projects really ultimately should be, which is like a cell token. But there's a lot of things they have to do to get to that point, of course. They have a lot they need to improve upon, but they have the potential to be up there as well. But anyways, what's the Polygon? What do you think about? You don't like Polygon?
I mean, personal reasons, yeah, but in terms of a token, it's going to do very well in the next 6 months.
I would say it's an investable coin. Like for me, it's probably a B plus, maybe even A minus. Just I don't have any bias. Like I don't have anything against the token.
Correct.
But it's just I don't know, man. It's just they're actually doing stuff. They actually have transactions. They actually have adoption. They actually are raising large amounts of capital. There seems to be a lot of people invested in their success.
I don't know. They're the main L2 for Ethereum right now. Yeah, they really are. So,
but is there anyone even close to them as far as L2 goes?
Well, in terms of L2, no, absolutely not for L2. But there is an argument, right? Because you have this right here. You have vertical versus horizontal scaling, right? So, in terms of vertical, Polygon's winning, but in terms of horizontal, you could even count a Phantom or one of these other chains as a possible, like, I mean, maybe a Pulse chain or something as like a really where like a lot of the action's kind of going basically. Because there's something to say because a lot of L1s are just are just taking the EVM, the Ethereum virtual machine, and just copying it over there. So it could, like, a lot of people have been saying that L1s are just pressure release valves for Ethereum to do all sorts of stuff like that, but we'll have to see. Yeah.
What? I'm not even familiar with what this coin is. 19.
Oh, 19. Oh, that's a Lido staked Ethereum that belongs to Lido. So this is just, you would count it sort of like a where is it? A wrapped Bitcoin, but I would actually say that this is a very useful token. I like Lido quite a lot. I think Lido is going to do very well in the next 3 months or 4 months, because what Lido Ethereum is basically it's a receipt token for staking your Ethereum in the pool. So once you have the merge happening and you can actually earn interest on your Ethereum, you can basically stake your Ethereum on Lido, and then you get given Lido staked Ethereum. And then what it does is, while you're holding it, every time you get your dividends payout. So let's just say I left one Lido token in my wallet and I checked back in 6 months, I would have 6%, maybe 2-3% extra more coins in my wallet. So you get your dividends paid out to you in Lido Ethereum. And it allows you to essentially hold an asset that pays you a dividend while it's still being liquid. That's what it is. It's a really cool concept. And this coin's probably the best one to do it right now. Lido is pretty well trusted. I think it's co-founded by Crypto Cobain or Crypto Kobe, basically. And so it's in terms of marketing and stuff. Once this stuff starts getting going, this one as well as something called Rocket Pool are going to be the two best competitors right now. There's more in terms of the amount of staked Ethereum. Lido has in terms of any other product chain, Lido, the main Lido token, has the most Ethereum locked up as a service. There's only 2 other entities in all of Ethereum that have more Ethereum locked up. So there's a lot of money in the Lido staked Ethereum sort of side right now.
Wow.
And then as soon as this happens, services like Rocket Pool are also going to go up as well. So pretty cool. This also allows you to essentially make loans with staked Ethereum Lido. And so let's just pretend the APY could stay at 12% or 8% for Lido. Imagine you take a 25% LTV loan on staked Lido Ethereum. Then if for a 3-year loan, technically you could actually have your loan be paid off. You could start having your loan getting paid off from the interest off of Lido ETH, paying your loan down. So it's some people might start collateralizing loans in this staked Ethereum, and this could be ways to essentially pay off and lower your margin call will keep lowering over time because your interest payments are paying down your loan for you.
Okay, yeah.
And that's what's really cool. So they're working. There's other stuff with Alchemex that are going on with that as well, which I've had a long time Alchemex bag for quite a bit and stuff. So there's some interesting sort of stuff, but this is like kind of that in between. I would say this stuff is like really like the end of the cycle to like the middle beginning of the next cycle sort of products that are going to start coming out, where like you're actually going to get a lot of hype with retail and stuff like that. And like it's going to, I think this stuff's really going to be used next cycle.
Yeah, it's cool to see though. It's cool to see it starting being built out, and it's cool to see like these sorts of ideas, because it's just going to allow so much more flexibility, man. Like compared to when we first got into crypto, the amount of flexibility of options of just all the things you can do long with like on these in these layer ones with these, with your Bitcoin, Ethereum, just whatever. Like there's just going to be so many different options. So it's cool. I just like to see more and more of these different projects trying different things. I mean, ultimately, it's just going to give us more options as consumers of it all. But what do you think about Near?
I think it's pretty cool. As an investable asset, A- again. I would call it an A- right now. A lot of the hype for this coin was kind of taken away because of the market downturn, and then a lot of the hype. There's basically with the next. So
it's holding up. It's holding up well though. It's up 27 for the last week here. It's top.
Yeah. Well, Bitcoin and everything else has been going up too as well.
Yeah.
But in terms of like, so this is just give you guys a little bit of a heads up and stuff. So I was actually going to give a recommendation on this coin before, because what I was starting to see is like the Twitter people and some of the smaller YouTube channels. I was starting to see like, oh, the money's going to start rotating, because before like the market dipped, I think at the beginning of December. The first 2 weeks, there was like kind of a flash crash that was going on in the markets, as well as like the stuff that happened within the first quarter. We went from a very positive like up. We were basically like, oh, fourth quarter was going to be very bullish, and then once we got into first quarter, we got more bearish sentiment, and this essentially killed the rotation. So the money that was going to rotate out of Phantom rotated back into Phantom, held it up for a while with the so it was actually a benefit for all the guys holding Phantom. Yay. The money didn't rotate out of Phantom. It stayed in Phantom because you had the Andre hype going on with Phantom, and then the money stayed there. And then when Andre left, that's when we got the first time a little bit of a dip on Phantom, and then now we've recovered. But that kind of killed the rotation of capital into Near, because I was starting to see like, a lot of people starting shilling Near and stuff like the beginning of it. So I was like, we could front run, catch the dip, catch the returns on this, and then rotate money out of Near.
Right.
Basically,
the drop essentially started to dampen the pump.
It just dampened all the people shilling it. Just basically they shut the fuck up. Basically, they were like, man, let's not talk about it. They kind of saved themselves a little. They're like, hey, let's not talk about it. It's over. And now they're shilling Midas or Midas. That's where some like a partial bit of the money left to there, and then it just came back. The pump's kind of over already on Midas as well. So it's just like a lot,
These pumps are others, right? They're less sustainable.
Right.
But, yeah, I mean, DAI is a stable coin.
But it's L2, like Near protocols. L2 Aurora is probably the most interesting L2. So you have the whole vertical, which is like, so if my elbow is Ethereum, right? And so the horizontal plane is basically all the Phantoms, the Pulse chains, and all these other things. And here you have like the Optimism, the Arbitrums, and the Matics basically on this side. Well, then you have something interesting where like you have something like an Aurora, like a Near protocol, and then the Near protocol has an L2 on top of it. So there's
okay.
So it's
L2 built on an L1.
Exactly, right.
Competing L1 to Ethereum.
Here's something that's so interesting about the L2.
There's other L2s though that are on other, isn't there?
Oh yeah, there definitely is. I actually do think they're kind of parasitic personally, because I think they end up unless your chain is big enough where it can handle it. But like I do, especially when you're there's really not much of why do you have an L2 on an
L1? You're diluting your L1 network effects, aren't you?
Correct. Yes, that's I believe that personally, but they're developing pretty cool technology. It could be
maybe it's hard to say, right? It's almost like in the early days. Yeah, it's hard to say, man. In the early days, it could be like you said, more of a parasitical thing where you're kind of hurting the network effect initial of the L1. But once you hit a critical point of having those network effects already, having L2s like a Polygon on top of Ethereum, it's hard to know, but you could argue it's increases their network effects potentially. I don't know for sure. I'm just thinking out loud, but yeah, that's interesting. So you're saying the Near L2 is was one of the more interesting L2s.
Far more interesting than Near. Yeah, the reason I say that it's cheap. It's cheaper
on that coin versus Near, because Near's had a good pump. I mean, it's top 20, which is less, it's lower risk coin, but it's still,
200. It's 200. So 9 billion versus 217 million.
oh, it's 287. Wow, it's pretty low.
Yeah, but here's the interesting thing about Aurora is that when you're on that L2, you can spend. This is what like shocked me about it. I was like, holy fuck, right? You can spend any cryptocurrency for gas on the L2. So any coin that's in your wallet can be spent for gas instead of it's so in the background. So this is that super usability stuff that's going to be quite copy pasted into other stuff where you can spend. Let's just say I have some Ethereum, some Bitcoin, I got some Hex and stuff.
Yeah.
It'll spend like which cryptocurrency would you like to use for gas? Let me use this one. And in the background, it's buying Near token and then buying some Aurora in the back, but it looks like you're just spending your whatever.
Right.
It's really cool, but that's that usability stuff where the
that makes a huge difference, man. Like long term, that's where things will have to go across the board because you need that. Yeah, I mean everything's going in the direction of interoperability and also flexibility with these sorts of projects. But it's cool that they're seeing that. It's cool that they've actually implemented it. And it's they're ahead of the game. If they're allowing you to do that, I mean, because that's the way it should be, man. It should be like you go down to the whatever to grab your coffee, scroll through your phone. You're scrolling through which what do I want to pay in? Like scroll through.
Right.
Like I'm going to pay in this. Swipe your phone. Now I paid. But like you should be able to pay in whatever you want to pay in, or pay your gas fee or whatever, and whatever you want to pay it in. So that's cool. So I hadn't heard about that one yet. But so you think Near has legs?
It has legs. It has legs. The one thing I just don't like about it is the market cap's already so high already, and like. And I'm paying attention to quite a lot of stuff and everything like that. And by the time this got on my radar, like Near was maybe like at the time, I think it was maybe like 4 billion in market cap or something like that. Even like, so like it's like, if the reason you're rotating into an ecosystem is to get those mad gains as well as like get into some of the early projects in there, and like it just came out and it was starting to get popular at the wrong time, basically when the market just finally, I think if the market kept staying, let's just say this quarter was it just stayed bullish or just didn't dump as much, Near probably would have gotten into the top 11 market cap, and then Aurora would have probably cracked a billion and a half, 2 billion, and you would have been able to capitalize on 10 to 15, 25 X's on some of the altcoins in there and yield farming gains. Right. But that just didn't happen. I think it's going to happen, but now it's probably delayed until third quarter of this year, probably. If I had to give you a guesstimate.
Yeah, it's still one of the better L1s, but I guess like you said, it's in the middle ground. It's gone up a good amount, but it could run a little bit more for sure.
No, definitely. And then I wanted to give a shout out to. Give me 1 second. Let me see if I can find this guy. Shout out to Joseph Wilson, man. Loving the convo, helping me power through work. Hey, man, keep at it, man. Keep at it, man. I know the feeling. But which one, DAI or which one?
Or yeah, I mean, it doesn't. Whatever. I guess we go through all of them. DAI is just a stable coin.
I'll give it a B.
B. Yeah, it's a B.
Yeah.
I personally wouldn't hold DAI. It seems too risky to me.
They bastardized it already. They neutered it. They neutered it along. They made it multi-collateral, and they're mostly holding USDC right now.
It just seems like unnecessary risk to take on to get the illusion of a decentralized stablecoin.
Yeah, they bastardized it on purpose because it was getting dangerous for them, and then so they bought a bunch of Tether and Coinbase effectively bought a bunch of Maker token, voted in they bought the Maker token and then voted in multi-collateral DAI, and then basically what's going on right now is USDC, which is Circle, is using. Now this is I'm not saying substantial. I don't know. It's bullshit. I don't know what I'm saying here. It's kind of bullshit here. So this Miguel right here in this universe is not saying this basically, but it looks to me in some other alternate universe that Circle is essentially inserting a ton of USDC and then getting DAI and then claiming the DAI as collateral to create more USDC in order to create more market cap on USDC. But who knows? That could be a different alternate universe and stuff, because Circle might be IPOing later this year. So having a larger market cap on USDC would be very beneficial for the stockholders as well as their valuation. But hey, that's just a far-fetched theory and stuff, right? And totally not based in this universe or this fact or this multiverse, of course.
In this universe, I just heard this interesting thing the other day about how I think that sounds very realistic and probable, because because man, like just see if the incentive is there to do that, like why not do it? I mean, if there's nothing, yeah, if there's a reason to do it, I'm like,
I just don't. Who knows? I think personally in this universe that just won't happen because people wouldn't do that and stuff. That's just like yeah.
yeah, people aren't greedy, people aren't
People,
driven by,
people aren't greedy. I don't think no. Everyone's trustworthy. These companies are trustworthy, and they definitely wouldn't inflate numbers and stuff. So,
yeah.
definitely that's not happening.
No one ever inflates numbers in the business sector,
No,
in the for
awesome.
profit, like because they don't get bonuses or anything. Like there wouldn't be a reason for them to try and do sorts of things like hit targets and yeah, no, that sounds far fetched. No, it's interesting, man. Like it's totally sounds like it could be the case. Litecoin, good old Litecoin. A or B? It's not.
Motherfucker.
It's not.
A minus. Like I'm a little partial to it. I still hold a quarter of my original Litecoin bag.
If you didn't hold any, and if you weren't, if you never held the coin, what would you give it? Well, give it whatever you want to give it. Give it whatever. Give it whatever.
I'll probably still give it an A minus because this coin ain't going to. It's not going to rug. It's not going to disappear. It's on every single exchange. So
Yeah.
liquidity wise, this has it's actually 24-hour volumes real.
Yeah.
I would say let's get 60% of it's real. 60% of it's real.
Which is still really high for crypto. Like as far as the volume, it's still pretty good.
It's really cheap, and actually, if you ever want to move a bunch of money around, you buy Litecoin and move it from an exchange. It's one of the cheapest ways to move a large amount of money. You can move a couple $1,000,000, and it would cost you like less than $1 to move it.
It's losing. It is slowly. It is slowly going down the ranks of CoinMarketCap, though. You can't
correct because it's fucked up.
Oh, it's a slow bleed down the CoinMarketCap, and that's not because, but that's only because you have like coins that are more hyped from this cycle.
Correct.
Replacing it, but it's been around a long time. It's not going anywhere, and
it will this year. It will get back to like maybe 11 in market cap at some point, maybe 9 in market cap this year. But it's off. Like we're getting close to like they've been saying we're getting close to Mimblewimble, but legitimately now they're starting to get a little more cocky about it. So it's going to have an upgrade to Mimblewimble, which just any news for Litecoin's good news. So
it's a storyline for sure.
It's a storyline. So we're probably going to get $420 again, all time highs again on Litecoin or something like that. Maybe $600 if we're lucky, and then it'll go back down and chill out.
Everyone knows about it, so I don't think many people are scared to buy it if it has a strong narrative, the new narrative, like because people know it's not going anywhere. So, but it is slowly bleeding down the coin market.
Yeah. It's the oldest trade in crypto. The oldest trade in crypto is trading Litecoin between Bitcoin. It's legitimately the oldest trade in crypto.
Like the ratios, when the ratios are way skewed in one direction, right? But Bitcoin is still over time. It's still outperforming it really. Cosmos.
A. I give this one an A. Yeah. It's fundamentals and everything. It's a great coin. It's doing like tons of stuff runs on top of it. Luna basically runs on top of Cosmos.
Yeah, and Cosmos is about interoperability, but it's doing it in a different way, right? So it's different than Polkadot, but really Polkadot and Cosmos are kind of the two main coins that are
layer zeros.
So like the fact that it's in that top two, I was down on Cosmos for a while. I thought Polkadot kind of had this wrapped up. I mean, it's so early in the game; it's kind of silly to think they have wrapped up already. But I thought for sure Polkadot was going to be the runaway layer zero. But and I didn't think Cosmos was getting like as much traction. But I mean, it's had a bit of a surge as of late. And I mean, the fact that it's where it's ranked, it's pretty solid. And like you said, if it's getting use. And if it has an outside chance of being the layer zero or being one of the major layer zeros, I mean, it's going to probably have a high market cap at some point. So, I would give it an A actually as well, which is weird because I would have given it a B 4 months ago, 6 months ago. So, but now
it's looking like Polkadot was ahead of it, and it's going to climb back up. But then it's just a rate. I think long term we're just going to have Cosmos and Polkadot be the layer zeros. That's just it. It's just be Pepsi Coke.
I'm still somewhat skeptical about Cosmos, but I would say like maybe A minus or something or B plus. But it's I mean it's in the running. So it's
starting to have a lot. Like there's a lot of it. There's starting to be some action on some of the other. There's starting to be some altcoins for Cosmos and stuff, and people are starting to get excited about it. But I've looked.
It's a big project. It's a big idea of what they're trying to do, right? I'm not like super big on their tech, but I don't know, man. It's investable, I guess you could say. I don't have any invested in it. I probably won't, but it's investable for compared to most cryptos. That's for sure. Chainlink, what would you give it? A or B? I mean,
So what's the B ranking again? Like what?
So A is investable. Basically, in crypto terms, it's 100% investable if it's an A. Doesn't mean you necessarily invest in it. It just means like you'd feel comfortable recommending it to almost anyone, knowing that it's not like a scam. It's not going to have like a rug pull. It's a legitimate project. Like they're actually doing something innovative. They're kind of at the top or near the top of their category. They're going to be here next cycle. They're not going anywhere. That's A to me. B is like you're on the fence on all those things. Like B is like, yeah, it's kind of investable, but I'm not like fully confident. I don't know. C is like I would never like ever consider investing in that.
It's an A, but I'm just going to give it an A minus just because, like, price performance wise, it's been anyone who's been in after the run up it had, it has not performed at all, and it's been a huge like waste of time on like Chainlink. And I saw this trend early. As soon as I saw the pump happen to it, I told people like get the fuck out of Chainlink.
Do you think that's essentially comes down to like the same idea as chasing the dragon? Like people that do like heroin the first time and they have just like such a good experience, and then they always are thinking they can get that same high they had the first time. Do you think it's people sit in these coins for years because they're expecting a run like that occurred? You can say that about a lot of coins. I mean, you can say that about Cell Token.
Chainlink legitimately was working. Chainlink's pretty much it is what it does. It's King Kong. There's no second. There's like the second best is
yeah, I mean, the thing is, they're absolutely leading their field. They're leading their sector. So to me, that's an automatic A.
It's an automatic, yeah.
If you're leading,
but we're here to make money. So
yeah, we're here to make money for sure.
I want to give it an A so bad. I really do.
It's a good project. Really you don't see a reason why the token's going to follow the project, then you got to give it a B. And here's an example. For example, we'll get to Cell Token, but for me, Cell Token's still a B. The company's an A, but the token's a B. And you could say the same with Chainlink. The project and the company might be an A, but the performance of the token is a B, right? It's the same kind of thing.
I can at least say this about the Celsius as the company. They weren't selling Celsius token to profit, right? To fund the company, where the Chainlink Foundation was dumping.
Yeah, see that
the reason the price didn't go up on Chainlink anymore is because the foundation started taking profits, and they did use that money to build the company out and hire employees and do all this other stuff. But price forever.
But that's my thing though. It's tricky, man. It's so tricky because there are lots of coins do that, right? Like they do use the token as like a funding mechanism for the actual company and of course and the project, and they're saying like, well, we're growing our ecosystem, but eventually the value is going to come back to the token. But I mean, it depends on how much the company still holds of the token. Are they really incentivized? Like once they get a company that's really successful, like I don't know, it gets tricky, right? But yeah, I would say if they dumped a large amount on the community, and if that's been the major reason why the token hasn't had a run, it's tough to want to be
just enough. They dumped just enough not to crash the price. If there's like $15 million of buying pressure, they would sell 14 million. Just enough. They just kept the price right, for ever.
That demoralizes your community at a certain point, right?
Yeah.
If the price is just sideways for years, when the company and the project is having success. Same with Cell Token. Same issue, right? The company is doing extremely well. Token's gone sideways, slashed down over the last year. Same kind of thing. The community gets demoralized. It doesn't mean it's not a good long-term project. Doesn't mean the token can't do well in the future. I think Chainlink's in a similar situation. But yeah, regardless, I would give it to me, yeah, I hear you on the token performance and the fact they're dumping the token. I don't like that. That probably makes it a B+ to me, not an A. But
right. I want to give it an A because what it does, it's amazing. But it's just like we're here to make money, and I hate this whole I'm in it for the tech. So am I. I love what's going on too, but let's not.
Well, you got to factor in everything, man. You got to factor. Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, it comes down to making money, and you got to factor in all these things, right? Token economics. I mean, the fact that what is the team doing with the tokens? Like, are they dumping? Like, those things all matter. So you got to factor it all in. So I think you're doing that.
If you put a gun to my head today and said you have to put all your money into Chainlink or Litecoin, I'd be like, Litecoin.
Right. There's not. You don't have to worry about those sorts of things. So okay. So then it's probably a B. for both of us. Tron to me is.
I don't know what's going on with Tron. Like
I don't know how it's still top 25. Like, how is
the
it?
Chinese money, man. The Chinese money. The Chinese money. I mean, that's what it is. But
Tron's outperforms EOS at least. Holy shit! I remember when Tron.
what a low benchmark.
I remember when Tron and it's a low benchmark. Well, Tron and EOS were like and EOS were like the two major L1 competitors last cycle. Man, they were two of the top ones.
Tron should have
Tron
been
was a big deal for a while. You remember Tron? Like it was all over the place.
Tron should have been Binance Chain. Like Tron should have been Binance Chain for what they did and stuff and everything like that. Except they just fucked. I don't know what's going on. But like, if you actually know the guy who I forgot the name of Justin Sun. That dude's actually a good trader. Legitimately, he does pretty. He buys and sells. He makes a lot of money.
Yeah, he's got a lot of insight. He's got a lot of inside information.
Yeah, so
he's probably a decent trader too. But
I don't know enough about Tron right now. But let's see. It's
not an A to me. It's not an A. It's either a B or a C. But the fact that it's still a top 25 coin somehow, I mean, I guess it's a B. I don't know though. I would not.
I would not invest. It's a B.
I would not recommend anyone to buy it. I just don't. To me, it's just a better performing EOS. Like they just never delivered on anything. It's last cycle. Like people, it's just not flash anymore. Like it's just who's gonna. Have we seen any significant pump from Tron this cycle or any rotation of capital? It's slowly bleeding, I think, down the ranks as well. What's it down from the all-time high?
So I guess in January of 2020, it pumped.
Oh, it did have a move. Yeah, it did have a
move. It went back up a little bit, but
yeah. But look, it
did have a move, so it's not complete dead. Look,
but this is the difference, man. If you look at this coin versus a lot of other coins that are the altcoins, this put in a massive lower high on the charts. Like if it had its move, it's got like it looks like it might. Yeah, we'll see if it can get.
I don't discount Justin Sun. It's just like I just can't Here's the
problem with the project.
I can't read Chinese. I can't read Chinese at all and stuff. So it's like I'm at a huge disadvantage when it comes to these tokens and the ecosystem and stuff. And like it's DeFi. One of the reasons why it pumped earlier on too, like that huge pump, was that they released a token called Sun Token, which is like they finally started unlocking yield farming and stuff, and they made a yield farming token and everything like that. And it was basically just not copy pasting, but it was starting to compete. Like it had its own pancake swap, or you know what I'm saying? Like and who knows what happened after that, but it's just like I think it's just a Chinese game, and then I can't play it basically. So it's like I'm just gonna stay away from it. But I think this is a good place to end the stream right here, just because we're hitting the 3 hour. We're at 3 hours now.
I was just gonna say one last thing about Tron, just I thought was pretty funny.
Please.
Is I just noticed its all-time high is 4 years ago.
Yeah.
So its all-time high was 4 years ago. So that to me is a problem. Like if a coin hit its all-time high last cycle, not this cycle, then that's kind of, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's just a red flag. It's like
it's a red flag. Communist red flag. Yeah.
But yeah, we kind of talked too long about each coin, so we didn't get.
No, it's perfect. I mean, that's perfect.
Hard, man. It's hard to go through them all in detail, and it's kind of a big endeavor. We'll have to do more next stream, or we'll go through more next stream. We got about to the 25 mark, so we can maybe go through more.
We'll on the next stream, we'll do more basically. But I can't wait to talk about Bitcoin Cash. I got some words about that coin. But where can people find you, Plan C?
Just on Twitter, yeah. Just I got it right there in the corner there. But yeah, just follow me on Twitter. That's kind of the main place right now. I'm looking to grow that. And other than that, I'll be just on streams with you guys, like on Moon Gang, and then your channel periodically. And that's pretty much it. I don't do much else other than that.
Got you, man.
And yeah, I'll be doing another webinar for the course as well. So teaching about on-chain.
Big alpha in that right there.
Every Q is a lot more. I just learned so much every quarter, so it's always going to get better, that presentation.
Yeah, you guys sign up. Put in your email right here to get on the waiting list for the Crypto Mindset course /access and stuff. And it goes on sale April 15th to the 19th, and first classes will start April 22nd. So 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 10 Eastern, both AM and PM, basically. So two webinars a day for about damn near 20 days. So it's get ready to get your ass kicked. But this is a best way to kind of learn crypto as well as get in all the new kind of plays and stuff, as well as all the fight clubs and stuff that possibly could happen as well. That's all I can say right now in terms of that. But definitely just make sure to sign up and stuff. Put in your email right here, and then you'll get notified as soon as the courses go on sale. So, heck yeah, man. Well, Plancy, it was great to have you again, and let's do this again.
Went by fast. I can't believe we actually went for 3 hours. I wasn't even aware it was that long.
Yeah, me neither. I looked up and it was like 2.5 hours. Like, oh shit.
Okay. That's the longest stream I've done in a while. It is tiring. You realize after you get off the stream, you're just like, whoa. But yeah, it's Anyways, for all the guys that stuck around and listened to the whole thing, I mean, thank you. And for all those guys listening after the fact, you got a long stream to listen to. So, but thanks, DC. I appreciate it, man.
Hey, no problem.
Yeah.
Okay.
Later, guys. Take care.
Later.